focus. Micronesia Climate Change Alliance.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Family platter of fried chicken?
Check.
Tray of red rice?
Check.
Birthday cake?
Check.
1 case of water?
Check.
12-pack of beer?
Check.
2 cases of Pepsi?
Check.
When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, UnoGo has that too.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Only one company on Guam provides every solar energy solution under one roof. Micronesia Renewable Energy. You want solar only? They got that. You want solar with batteries? They got that too. You want outright purchase or lease purchase? It's up to you. Does your solar system need a tune-up? That's what they do. For solar energy solutions from A to Z, you can count on MRE. Give them a call at 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, providing real solar solutions built by real solar experts.
Join the Foundation for Public Education as they recognize some amazing teachers in our community and award one deserving person the title of Teacher of the Year. Watch the broadcast or live stream on the KUAM News Facebook page on Sunday, April 25th at 6:30 p.m. to meet the 6 finalists and learn about their exceptional work as educators. Plus special messages from Superintendent John Fernandez, sponsors, and the current Teacher of the Year, culminating in the live announcement of the 2021 Teacher of the Year. It's a special event you don't want to miss. The 2021 Teacher of the Year is presented by Bank of Guam, Cars Plus Guam, and the KUAM Care Force. The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
When we throw things away, where is away? What happens to our waste, and where does it go? As a community of small islands, the waste crisis is a large issue we want to bring into focus. Micronesia Climate Change Alliance presents From Our Nanas for Our Nennies, a video series about taking a holistic view of our present, finding wisdom from our past, and inspiring a better future. Airing every week during Earth Month, brought to you by Humanities Guahan and the National Endowment for the Humanities.
I really want us to be together. to feel your arms around me. I don't need nothing less, nothing more. Leave me in the dark of the day. Don't get home now, don't you walk away. I know it's tough right now, but my poor don't necesita the end of the day. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, at the end of the end of the day. No, 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 no. Danny Julia, and I know you're the one for me. Any guy, how good as I know you will always be my baby.
Hey, good morning.
We got a new stream. Sorry, our app had a little hiccup there. So,
Right.
So welcome everybody on stream number 2 on show number 1 of the week.
There you go. Monday.
Figure that one
Hey,
out.
it's Monday. What do you expect? That's going to happen. We had a 42 on the link. That's the Payless joke.
So, you know what?
Or a cash register joke. Yeah.
Speaking of 42, it was Jackie Robinson Day last week.
Oh, wow.
42, of course, retired throughout Major League Baseball in honor of Jackie Robinson, the great
Amen.
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. 704 on the Breeze side. We're KUAM FM. I got you Guam. Remember, 8 o'clock, we jump on KUAM TV?
Yep. Channel 8 will
Yes,
be there.
thank you.
On NBC right now, we have got auto racing.
Oh, yeah, great.
We had hockey before.
Yeah.
If you don't buy your scarf, you can't go outside and play hockey.
I caught some auto racing on the way into work.
Really? That early in the morning?
Me? Yeah. 705. Let's head into the Zoom room where we're graced with the presence of former senators Will Castro and Kelly Marsh Taitano. Good morning.
Afterday. Good morning.
Thanks for answering the call. I got a hold of these guys over the weekend. I was like, man, you know what would be cool is if you come on and we play a little catch up and then you talk about your perspective on everything that's happening now, because it kind of seems when you guys left office, things have really like ramped up, and now it's almost to me reached this boiling point when you talk about the kind of the posture between the legislature and the administration over this like $600 million in the American Rescue Plan funds. And, you know, it's been a few months since you guys were in office, but the conversation is exactly the same. Transparency and accountability. That's all we hear about from the legislature. Basically calling out the administration like, hey, we don't know what you guys are doing. We don't know what the plan is. And so I thought it was interesting because it made me kind of think about the tail end of the last legislative term, the 35th, when there was a transparency bill. And it was kind of the same deal. And you two were, a couple of the senators who were trying to raise the alarm about the administration being more transparent and accountable. So we'll get into that. But first, let's do all the niceties. Like, how you guys been?
Ako, Dr. Finenena.
Well, incredibly busy. I've been doing a lot of research and I'm preparing for me, I'm personally very excited. I've long wanted to teach anthropology at the university, and so I'll be teaching anthropology in the fall. And part of why I'm excited about it is I really feel like it changed the trajectory of where I was going. You know, when I first started UOG, I was going to be a PE instructor, and then I joined ROTC, and I was going to be an officer. But then I took anthropology, and it took me in a different direction. And I'm really glad it did, because it helped me understand it and appreciate and fall more in love with our island and our region.
I just can't even wrap my mind around you and ROTC, and
I think she would look good in green.
You know, and I've got green eyes, so that's part of it. But you know, I surprise people sometimes because I'm a mother of 3, I'm a grandmother of 4, and so I totally can bring out that mom voice and that teacher voice when I have to. So yeah, so I pictured it would help me as an officer as well, being able to pull out that, that stern voice. So.
Will, you got something in the comments here? Angel P. Quintanilla Castro. Good morning, brother Will. How you doing?
Buenas and half a day para todos Samzulokui. The same as the doctor. I had a lot of time to put some stock into family. My son was accepted into the National Honor Society. That's awesome. And my daughter's trying out for volleyball, so I get to attend to a lot of these activities. And in addition to that, I've been putting in time in these fraternities like the YMLG and the Knights of Columbus. And then also just trying to look at a different path for myself, Chris. I founded the One Marianas Initiative. It's a not-for-profit corporation to continue the good work and strengthening the ties with our brothers and sisters in the Sinamay. And so that in and of itself has kept me busy. And other than that, I could say I wake up with peace of mind every day. It's not quite the same, huh, Kelly, in terms of waking up as a senator and in these rough waters when you got to balance competing ideas, and not just the ideas, but the personalities. And I'm sure Chris is going to get into that in a bit.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the research that I've been doing, I'm doing some research as a research associate, but then also with Guampedia. And going back in time into the 50s and 60s and really seeing the fights that we've had to do and the leaders that have had to stand up along the way to stand up for Sela, that Sela didn't become an ammunitions wharf. And right now I'm researching about Tumon, how we had to really fight to keep Tumon from Ipao to Fafai or Gun Beach. They wanted to take the whole area as a recreation area. So, like you said, finding these balances where we need to figure out the way to live together, but we definitely need our leaders to be standing up and saying, hey, there have to be some limits, and there are some things that are so important to our community that we need to keep that balance in mind.
That's really interesting, Senator Kelly, that when you talk about some of these movements that have happened in the past, maybe even with a generation that a lot of us felt was just so beholden to the military because of the liberation, right? Like my grandfather always had this weird dichotomy of feeling where, yes, obviously there was some gratitude living under the American system and having been liberated by the Americans. But then on the other side, he just had a real issue with a lot of the military members who were stationed here and just kind of the attitude that they had. And they would have this saying that he'd always say, like, Marines, F Marine. I'm sure you heard that in you guys' generation, right? So I always thought it was interesting that the generation gone by, when you get these people who talk about, the Bonomco, they're so pro-American. Yeah, they were, but then my grandfather also saw what was happening with the military and just kind of like the brazen attitude that they had in regards to the land. I mean, there's always the land taking and just the treatment of the environment. So I think it's interesting to draw those parallels between what's happening now and the people who stood up and voiced concerns and were successful in kind of mitigating the military buildup back then, and then drawing the parallel to what's happening now, right?
No, and it was really important that those things happen, and maybe, over time, it can seem difficult to keep that up, but we have to keep it up, because if we think long term, just think about what we would have if we didn't have Sela. Like I hiked down to Sela, not this Sunday, but the Sunday before, and it took me like all week to recuperate because the hike down is easy, but the hike back up, you're hiking up pretty much a mountain to get back up. But if we hadn't stood up, then we wouldn't have Sela. And, we talk about it in a variety of ways in my History in Guahan, or my History of Guam class. And some of it is maybe those cultural differences about, what you ask for. And so there was this comparison, if you will, about, if you were at somebody's house, like in the islands, you would know if somebody offers you like, what do you want to drink? We have iced tea. And you say, I only drink Diet Coke. I'd rather have that if you have, and we all know absolutely what would happen is that family, they don't have Diet Coke, but they would send somebody in their family out to get it. And, I had then asked them, this was an outsider who had done something like this, right? And didn't realize that if they asked for kind of too much, that the Chamorro family would of course send somebody out to go get it, because they would go that extra mile. Whereas I asked them, I said, well, you know, if you had been there and your mother had heard you ask for a Diet Coke when the host said they only had iced tea, what would happen to you? And so she said, my mom would smack me in the back of the head, because you know not to ask for too much. You know your hosts are going to be accommodating and they're going to go above and beyond. And I think that's some of the differences. We have the U.S. asking for some of these things, and it can
But the U.S. needs to realize that we don't have Diet Coke. We only have Quantum Ice and
asking for Diet Coke is too much. And they have a responsibility. Like, we know that the guest has a responsibility. You know, it's not just the host has a responsibility to be welcoming, but we, the guests, have a responsibility not to ask for too much, or to not to make ourselves too much of an imposition. And so I think that's some of what happens, but maybe Will has something to say there.
Yeah, he does, of course.
My only contribution here, Doc, you're doing well, is solo na mangay respetunya. That's it. I think the respect has to go both ways. It's a necessary partnership in many respects. I still believe in the return of excess federal properties. I still believe in the respect of treating our ancient remains and our culture, language, and heritage sacrosanct. And so as long as they come here and participate in this advancement of American democracy and respect this great Chamorro nation, I have no problems with that. But I agree with you, Doc, in more ways than one.
Right. Let's move on here, guys, to, well, I guess we'll just start with this whole issue of the $600-some million that we're getting from the American Rescue Plan, and this kind of battle that's been brewing. I think because a lot of it stems from the CARES Act money and how the legislature was just shut out of anything to do with how that was spent for the most part. I think there was a bill with Senator Shelton on one of the aid programs that she had put out. But I think that the senators, you guys are part of this, you saw how you had zero input with that. And now we've got a bill. The senators are talking about, hey, Governor Lou, Lieutenant Governor Josh, give us a list, give us a plan. What are we going to do with this money? What do you guys just kind of make of this whole struggle and the conversation that's being had between, well, I don't know if you could call it a conversation really, between the administration and the legislature over this American Rescue Plan money? Don't all answer at once now.
Wait, I'll go ahead and kick us off, Senator. You might be in a precarious situation.
I think we're both being a little bit polite of like, I'll defer to Will. I'll defer to Kelly.
I'll just take the same position I took when I was the sitting senator. That no harm can ever come from being transparent. What I saw Senator Chris and the others trying to do is basically exacting for reports to come down. I don't see the harm there. But what I would do differently, if they're not already doing it, I'm sure Chris and Tony Ada, Senator Ada, are working this angle. But I would work with the Democrat leadership in Ways and Means. Senator Kelly, I remember there was a lot of frustration the last term we had in terms of working across the aisle and with the executive branch and getting some collaboration together. But Senator Joe was able to tie it together to an extent for the duration that we were able to close out that COVID experience as senators. But I just don't see the harm in asking for more information. I know that the director of BBMR, when asked in a public panel, would disclose that information willingly. I've been there in person and I've seen him disclose that, maybe not line by line, but I see him give out the aggregate reports. And so the federal money is still the people's money, no matter how you look at it. And I don't know if they work that angle. Kelly, you have a better perspective in terms of the Democrat majority?
Well, I fall in line very similar to you, is that a conversation is good and open communication is good. So, the more that's happening, I think it's really important. There is a division as to who has authority over these monies. I mean, it does come down to the executive branch, and then it gets into that division of authority. But I think Senator Joe made some good points this morning in the article that I read, where, he was saying that it's going to come down to how they frame the budget. And I think this is going to be some of how the legislature gets a little bit of control and say. So I'm hoping that there are conversations that are happening, because we don't see everything from the outside, and conversations do happen. But I hope that they continue to build those, and it will be interesting to see how this budget is framed and goes forward.
Well, let me ask, because this is something that we talked about on this show, I want to say about 3-4 weeks back. Do you guys think that if it's coming down to this struggle and, outside of going to court over it, which I think they're doing in other jurisdictions in the continental United States, but let's say, for example, I'd like to use this example of the GVB president and permitting czar, Uncle Carl, had come on and said, hey, I'm going to ask Lou for $20 million to market tourism. And then when we had the governor on this show, we said, hey, are you going to give former Governor Carl $20 million? And she was like, yeah, I'm going to give it to him. So knowing that, going into these budget hearings, do you think the legislature should start deducting money from whatever budget request is in front of them? Like, oh, GVB, you're getting $20 million from Lou. Let's go ahead and minus that from your request.
Well, I wouldn't just outright say yes. I think it's a question of scrutinizing how that money's going to matriculate. But I think Joe and his capable team can do the math in terms of the revenues generated as a result of that activity. You can't just basically supplant local revenues or your anticipated local revenues with something anticipatory, right? You can't anticipate that the governor's going to outright give 20 million. You have to sort of get the finer details in. I took the opposite argument as well last time, Chris. I basically put it on the table and said that federal stimulus is not an economic revitalization strategy. It's no way, it's not reliable. But in this case, if we know definitively how it's going to impact GVB, then maybe you can. But it'll be an unfair posture to hold the executive branch and the revenues of Gov Guam hostage to what you anticipate. But I think what Joe can do is anticipate the revenues in terms of the residual taxes that derive from that. No one knows if you're going to have 5 million in this direction or that direction. That's why I think the senators who are wanting greater accountability, whether it's in the form of a strategic plan or an expenditure report, is the right direction to go. That's what I think. But to outright say, no, we're going to cut you by 40 million because there are reports that you're going to get 40 million. It doesn't work that way, Kelly. I think you remember in the Budget and Finance Committee, it's brutal. When we have the open floor and open sessions committee, that was brutal because we challenged the assumptions. And the first assumption cannot be that we're basing an entire revenue based on mass media reports, as an example.
Right.
Well, Senator, I don't know if it's basing it on mass media reports because we heard from the horses' mouths themselves. Carl said, yeah, I'm getting 20. And the governor said, yeah, I'm giving him 20. So it's not really speculation.
Well, is it this fiscal year? Is it the next fiscal year? I'm not defending the administration. I'm just trying to take a very deliberate approach. Will she give him 10 million this year or 10 million next year? And again, that's September 30 versus October 1. I don't have the details. And any responsible lawmaker should be able to examine the details before making a final decision, in my opinion.
We had a comment here from Rosemary. During the deliberations on the RISE Act, did either of you pick up on the governor's concern of possible unfairness to Gov Guam workers? And also, what's your stance on the RISE Act as this has become... it's just become something that they didn't want to pay out, and people keep asking about it, and it's kind of become this lightning rod where you had Senator Moylan saying, "Hey, pay the RISE Act," and it's become a talking point for the Republicans, I think, which is so ironic because it was a Democrat initiative. Senator Titan?
Well, yeah, the way that I remember it being discussed on the floor, and Senator Will can chime in here, the way that I remember it being discussed on the floor is, legislative action can take a while. That's due process. We don't want it to go too fast. We need the hearings, we need the deliberation, we need time for research, all of that. And so this bill, we had seen that during certain emergencies, we wanted to get aid to the people, but that it was taking 2 months, 3 months to have it go through the different processes. And then there's also no guarantee that we can meet. If something happens and we can't physically meet because somebody has to be, or several senators have to be in quarantine, it can slow the process down further. So it was pitched to us as having it in the back pocket, not to use immediately, not to use the next day, the next month, but to have in the back pocket so that when that emergency time came up, the governor wouldn't have to send down a bill and wait 3 months. The governor would be able to reach into her back pocket, figuratively speaking, and be able to pull it out. But maybe you remember some other details, Senator Will?
Gosh, this is history repeating itself. It didn't matter if it's LG or Calvo or whoever else before that. I hate to make this public statement, but it's a reality of my experience is that it's the golden rule. He who controls or she who controls the gold rules. And unfortunately, certain administrations have that privilege to determine which laws take precedent over another. What I can tell you, and I could pitch for the Republican Party, is that I'm very, very happy that the Republican caucus has been introducing bills that would ask for greater accountability, that would reduce the BPT. I think it was 3% that one of the Republican senators introduced, that would like more money to go into a program to grow micro industries. So we've seen it with Calvo, and now the tables have turned, right? And so I'm very curious to see how the 36th Guam legislature rolls that out in their oversight hearings, because when it was Governor Calvo, there wouldn't be a week or a month that went by that they wouldn't attempt to tie his hands and exact certain accountings of monies, whether it was the emergency, right, for the natural disaster, or for other things like the pool, as an example. And so the tables have turned, and I'm curious to see how the Democrat majority is going to hold the administration accountable.
Yeah, one thing that did come to my mind, both during and up to now, it is the concern with this idea of the government of Guam workers, and part of that is that a lot of government of Guam workers are actually frontliners, and so you were saying, Chris, before that there's kind of these dichotomies and these two different sides to things. So on one hand, they did continue working, which was very important to the economy, to have people with these full-time jobs pumping money into the economy. That helped out a lot of businesses in the big picture. But at the same time, some of them, or a good number of them, have been frontliners, at GMH and elsewhere. And so
man, I love my GovGuam employees. I love my GovGuam employees, Senator Kelly. They're very, very hardworking, but I just have to disagree a little bit and say that I'm not sure what the numbers are, but a lot of government and Guam employees, yes, are frontliners, but a lot also got to stay. But a lot got to stay home and, I don't want to say do nothing, but they earn a paycheck, which it really, and going back, I think it's kind of like eased over, but this was like really divisive for the private sector, and this became something that they just wouldn't shut up about. It was like, hey, we've got all these, and rightfully so. I mean, it is what it is. We've got all these people out of work on PUA, FPUG. Meanwhile, GovGuam's workers staying home earning a paycheck. And I get what the governor was trying to do, was trying to avoid all those people migrating to these federally funded unemployment programs, but it is what it is, right?
Well, yeah, and not only that, like I said, really, I think in the big picture, we have a lot to really think about or rethink about our economy. Like I said, the economists were saying, as many people as you can get to have these full-time jobs, be they grocery bag workers or somebody working for the government, they keep the wheels churning. And one of the lessons we need to learn, the economists were saying, is not to immediately want to cut everything back, because when you cut things back, people tend to save money, or they're going to be very frugal with their money, and they're not going to go out there and spend it. And the economic wheels really slow down or stop churning. And so it was really important to keep those economic wheels turning in as many ways as we could. But also, at least for me, a lot of the government, all of the government workers that I know of, and I don't know everybody, obviously, but they were working really hard behind the scenes, and it's real hard for us to be able to see that. My office put in extra time, actually, trying to balance out working from home and having these extra layers of procedure and protocol and things. So I know maybe it wasn't visible, but a lot of people really were working hard from home as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not trying to make a blanket characterization that, they were all just sitting home watching Netflix or whatever. Senator Will?
I believe I was one of those who voted for the RISE Act. And this is the perfect opportunity now to strike that balance, bring that equilibrium back. I agree with you, Senator Kelly. It was important to keep revenues flowing through the economy and so forth. This is the time, I believe, for the administration to be able to leverage those federal resources now to aid those in the private sector. I'll give you an example. I'm not even speaking philosophically. Like when I was a GovGuam employee, stable in terms of their revenue, right, for the paychecks. And so now it's time to lift up the private sector so we can move forward. If anything, Chris, and I see you have some other guests coming on, if anything, I think this pandemic has taught us that we are overly dependent on one or more industries, and that we definitely need to grow the economy so that we don't have to rest our laurels on, just say, tourism as an example. We didn't have the military buildup. If we didn't have these federal monies consistently coming in, where would we be? I was worried about where we would be. But thankfully, the military construction, other opportunities like economic relief from the federal government came in, because where would you be in terms of employment? And I'll tell you, Senator, if you should run again, I certainly hope you embrace diversifying the economy, greater micro industries and cottage industries and trade, and greater incentives for the private sector to develop. That's the direction I hope to go as well, is to participate more in the private sector side. But that's my little spiel, Chris.
Yeah, and I agree to a lot of what you're saying, and that's absolutely the direction I was going in as well. Is, we just have to do what we can to diversify the economy. And early on, when I was senator, I actually got to go to the Pentagon. It took at least like 3 weeks of going back and forth to be able to get in there. But I sat down and I talked to some of the top planner, the top civilian planner for the military buildup. And she said, the military is known for a long time that they need to be part of diversifying the economy, of making the economy not so reliant. And so even they get it. The economy has to be strong on its own, apart from these pillars, because they are vulnerable to outside forces or other forces themselves. So I couldn't agree with you more that we need to diversify cottage industries. There's so much potential, I think, in Micronesia. They have amazing resources with the produce and other things that they can create. They can set up cottage industries. It can be connected to Guam. We can work together. I'm still looking forward to, you and I worked on this, Senator, of having this Micronesian commission, this commission set up so that we can be exploring our regional ties. Taiwan has amazing research and development, that potential that we can tie into. So we really need to just push into those areas, Southeast Asia, Taiwan, Micronesia, and get it done.
One more note, Chris, if I could. If there's no pool of money, if there's no federal relief money, where would the rest of the community be? And I definitely seeing this federal relief money sunsetting in the future. And if that should happen, you see a lot of families without income. And if that happens, there's no car, there's no means to get employment, and worse, if there's no jobs, they can't bring home the food for the family. And so I stand with the Republicans in that we need to stand up the economy and wean ourselves from this federal subsidy and dependency.
That's why we got the lecture from the press conference from Congressman San Nicolas, which was, don't go buy a lot of nice things. What did he say? Don't avoid luxury purchases of high-end items. That was interesting. So, guys, I'm pretty sure you have something to say about that, Senator Will. Go for it.
I say the vegetable ready white. I'm sorry, I missed the congressman's press conference, Chris. I know you're trying to bring me in there. I say buy a paddleboard if you can afford to get out there and work on your health. work on your mental health and your physical health, and love your family. At the end of the day, you can do away with all that good stuff, but be with your family and work on your mental, physical health. That's my positive note of the day. And I see Mayor Alex online. Is he going to chime in? You can ask us a question about the mayors, or?
Yeah, what do you guys got to say about the mayors?
I say the mayors are the front line of democracy. They work the hardest in terms of elected officials. I've seen my mayor, Jesse. My goodness, in June, they're everywhere. Jesse would take up a shovel. These guys deal with carcasses. They deal with house fire. They deal with all kinds of things that are beyond the scope of their job description. So God bless those folks out there in the mayor's council, those who work so hard in the middle of the night to get called when somebody passes away. That's just an amazing, amazing character that it takes to live up to the expectations of that community. So God bless you. It's nice to see you, Mr. Mayor Hafaday.
Yes, and I wholeheartedly agree. The work of the mayors at that grassroots level of really stepping in and working closely with the community, it is a one big task. And those that rise up to it, really, we have to appreciate that. Hafaday, Mayor.
Lana, your dog is getting bigger, Mayor.
Hi, Jesse. And June Bloss is a great mayor from Barragata.
Right on. Well, Senators, it's been a good mayor. You have anything for the former Senators?
Thank you for the compliments. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're looking out for us.
Yeah. And Chris, if I can, to just say that this morning and today is going to be just an important day, at least for me in my office. My office manager lost her fight with cancer, and so today she's having her funeral. It's happening in Saipan, but we're going to do a small ceremony here at the end of the day. So,
well, our condolences.
She was a member of Prateri Litexan. That's how we met each other, and I had her as an office manager so that we just would be an office that would really try to stand up for what was good for the people in the long term, with that long-term lens. And so she's sorely missed. I'm not sure if you knew Retta Sue Hamilton, but full of energy, always fighting for the right things and for the community, and absolutely a cultural advocate.
Well, thank you. And our condolences to her and her family, Senator. Senator Will, thanks for stopping by. Don't be a stranger now.
Anytime, Chris. Thank you for having me, and thank you again, Senator Kelly. It's been awesome.
Yeah,
have a wonderful week.
You guys got the Zoom link, so feel free to jump on. Anytime you get any of these other senators on here and you want to jump on and maybe do a fact check or whatever, you got the link. Come on in. Okay, Mayor, hold on. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. That was fun. And come back with the Mayor's Council of Guam president, who's just glowing from those compliments he received from. He's like, I'm going to have a good Monday. What a way to start the week. All right, so we'll take a quick break, and we're back with more of The Link next. Good morning.
Taco Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Family platter of fried chicken?
Check.
Tray of red rice?
Check.
Birthday cake?
Check.
1 case of water?
Check.
12-pack of beer?
Check.
2 cases of Pepsi?
Check.
When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, UnoGo has that too.
Join the Foundation for Public Education as they recognize some amazing teachers in our community and award one deserving person the title of Teacher of the Year. Watch the broadcast or live stream on the KUAM News Facebook page on Sunday, April 25th at 6:30 p.m. to meet the 6 finalists and learn about their exceptional work as educators. Plus special messages from Superintendent John Fernandez, sponsors, and the current Teacher of the Year, culminating in the live announcement of the 2021 Teacher of the Year. It's a special event you don't want to miss. The 2021 Teacher of the Year is presented by Bank of Guam, Cars Plus Guam, and the KUAM Care Force.
Looking for TV schedules, upcoming sports, or special presentations, or what you may have missed over the busy week you had? Well, look no further than KOAM Digital Digest. This weekly emailed newsletter puts all kinds of information in the hands of subscribers each and every week. Just subscribe and we will make sure you keep up with your favorites and stay informed and entertained throughout it all. Go to KOAM.com, click on the newsletter tab, give us your email address, and you are all set. Brought to you in digital partnership with King's Restaurant and Ruby Tuesday Guam. It's the KOAM Digital Digest, your weekly guide to the latest information and best entertainment on the stations and platforms of KUAM.
The world of television is more exciting than ever. Don't miss a minute of special presentations from NBC on KUAM TV8 or from CBS on KUAM TV11. Every month, we'll bring you the fun and excitement of award shows and red carpet moments, special series presentations, and other great network programs. Brought to you locally by King's Restaurant, Ruby Tuesday Guam, and Bud Light Seltzer, giving you more reasons to tune in and turn on. Fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications. Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Only one company on Guam provides every solar energy solution under one roof. Micronesia Renewable Energy. You want solar only? They got that. You want solar with batteries? They got that too. You want outright purchase or lease purchase? It's up to you. Does your solar system need a tune-up? That's what they do. For solar energy solutions from A to Z, you can count on MRE. Give them a call at 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, providing real solar solutions built by real solar experts.
It's Dirty Politics Weekly on the Link, live on location. Every week, Chris and Sabrina will interview different political leaders out in the field to address environmental problems in our community. See firsthand how illegal dumps, littering, and other issues are plaguing our beautiful island and what's being done to help. Part of our Sustainability Matters campaign for Earth Month, in partnership with the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Guam Green Growth. Presented by Green Energy Solutions, Inc. Reduce before you produce. GESI.
Hey, The Link, good morning. Let's catch up here with Senator Kelly just real quick, because I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about this hearing that's coming up with Senator Talina Nelson.
Yes, you know, it's so important that we're having this hearing, and so I really appreciate that she is having two, a round table for some open discussion and then an oversight hearing. And it boils down to, and I think the senators that have had oversight over the Historic Preservation Office these last several years have been doing a really good job of that balance of both holding them to a very high standard in very tough situations, but also really looking for support, ways that they can help build up the office, because it's just a matter of fact that given the tasks at hand, they need more staff, they need more technical expertise to be able to handle all that's flooding into their office. So I will be testifying at the hearing, as will, I'm sure, many others. One of the things that I always impart or expect of our Historic Preservation Office is to hold to the standard of what is morally right, what is legal. You know, as we know, as legislators and as a community, laws are being created all the time, and they're being updated and reframed all the time, because it's difficult for a law to get entities to do what is morally right. That, you know, they're two different things, but our historic preservation has to ask for and demand and fight for what is morally right for the Chamorro people and for the community at large, because our environment, it's tied to our economy, it's tied to the identity of Chamorros, it's tied to our health and well-being, and that's a really big responsibility.
You're right, Senator Kelly. So that hearing again, that's on comments relative to the military buildup, and then I believe the oversight hearings on the state historic preservation office. Thank you, Senator. I also want to just say that I don't. It kind of seems to me like the SHPO office doesn't really realize the full power that it has to hold this buildup accountable. And I don't know if that's because of the political will of the administration, because they don't really seem to be coming down on one side or the other.
You know, I would boil it down to, and it's a very complex thing. I'm sure there are all kinds of factors, but in the big picture, I would boil it down to needing that technical expertise. So one of the things I've really advocated for is to hire consultants. I know that they are working on hiring more archaeologists. We just need that expertise in there. And so, you know, I've known the people within the office for a lot of years, and I know that they want the right things to be happening for the community, but we just really need that expertise because laws are complex. Cultural resources are vulnerable and sacred and, you know, so significant. There are just so many factors and nobody wants to misstep. And so what we really need is that professional guidance through the laws and through all these considerations. So I really continue to push for that. I just finished helping, so I'm with the Micronesian Area Research Center as a research associate, and I just helped put together a grant to help the Historic Preservation Office update and modernize their geographical information system, which is so important to knowing where the burials are, the sites are, these precious resources are, and it really will make things much more efficient and the work much more effective if we do this. So I really hope that grant is able to go through, and it would also get 3 graduate students on board to hopefully consider careers, because we need the people of Guam to consider these kind of careers and be the technical expertise in those offices.
Right. Well, thank you, Senator. I appreciate it.
Yes, and I'm sure there will be more discussion after the roundtable hearing.
I'm sure. Thank you.
And you have a very, very proactive president of the Mayor's Council on your show, and I've been impressed with all the work that he's been doing already.
Well, I think he's pretty impressed with all the compliments you guys keep throwing.
Senator.
Yeah, he's like, never mind the interview. We'll just keep getting these compliments.
A neighbor to Petey, so.
Right. Thank you, Senator. We'll see you.
Esta.
Okay, Joss. All right, Mayor. Like, I don't know if I could kiss up as good as those two did, but good morning.
Well, you know what? Senator Marsh could actually be in PD. It depends on who you ask.
Right. So where is she on like that kind of like between Asen and PD or something?
Correct. Yeah. She's her road. If you ask the residents that live on the top of the road, at the end of the road, they say they're from PD. And if you ask the residents that are from where she's at down, their official municipality is Asen. So It depends on who you ask.
Well, thanks for joining us for our Monday morning update. I'm so sorry those guys cut into a lot of your time, but I'm pretty sure you don't mind.
I don't mind. Good morning and off of it.
Right on.
Well, you know, I think one of the bigger things that we have going on with most of the mayors, especially those with baseball fields and recreational facilities like gyms, now that the gathering limit has increased and that there's a little more opportunities for sports teams to play and to conduct tournaments. I think that's one of our bigger issues these days. And this week, as a matter of fact, because a lot of the baseball fields are opening up for more than just practices. And we're really concerned about our village gyms. I know those mayors that have village gyms, they are definitely operate differently from the typical gym, like the other fitness gyms. And so with the village gyms, they're really at the discretion of the mayor. And so if the mayor doesn't feel that they're ready to safely have more tournaments or games within the gym, the mayor does not have to open the gym. Of course, what we're really impressing upon the teams and tournament organizers is a mitigation plan that has to be approved by public health. So if they obtain their approved mitigation plan, then the mayor perhaps will be more amenable to allowing the tournament to proceed within their facilities. And so for us in PD, we have a baseball field that a lot of people like to use, and so we're requesting for that as well. And so we're hoping that the other mayors' offices and facilities do the same. Again, I mentioned the village gyms because there's a lot of activity in those gyms, and there's different organizations that use those gyms. And as long as there's a mitigation plan that's provided to the mayor, there really should be no problem. There's a lot of organizations and perhaps even teams that are a little more lax now or starting to be lax about these types of issues with COVID preparedness. So we want to be sure that everyone remains healthy and safe. So
What,
again,
Mayor, sorry, Mayor. We had a comment in here. Are village versus village baseball games foreseeable in the future? When you talk about submitting the plans, obviously you got to wait for public health to hear back. What's the timeline on when we're going to see baseball games at the village level?
Well, I know for us, we're looking at next month. We have tournaments already scheduled starting next month, and so with a approved mitigation plan, I'll accept it as much as I can in PD. And so the field has actually been used for a lot of practices since last month, and we're accepting of that as long as there's no social gathering afterwards. Right after the practice, we gotta go home. Village to village sports, we've been talking about it with the mayors. So with some of the funds that we're going to receive, hopefully through the ESF, we're hoping to have that type of intramural style tournament within the villages. So we're hoping to have that announcement soon enough.
Mayor, what about the commodities, right? I wanted to ask, when you guys do the food commodities, what are people saying, and what are you seeing in terms of like the need for it?
There's still a need. There's still a desire for both the food commodities that we receive from TFAP and the food boxes that a private contractor was selected to distribute. So those two types of boxes, or the box and the bag, they're both still, they're still both in need. The difference is, the difference is that one is dry and one is perhaps wet, and they combine, they create a nutritional meal. So there doesn't seem to be less of a need.
You got an update on the stray animal roundup?
Don't have an update on the stray animals. I know we continue to do it. I do have to say though, changing the subject on the stray animals, going back to recyclables because it's Earth Month.
Yes.
If your village mayor has not reached out to you and you have some recyclables that need to get disposed, please give your office, your mayor's office, a call and see how they're scheduling the pickup or the disposal of your recyclables. And so we cannot accept everything. There are some things that we can't accept, such as used oil, paint, propane tanks that still have the nozzle on the top. So those types of things, we'll have to work out. And a lot of those types of things that we can't accept, GSWA accepts directly from the resident. And so you can also check with GSWA if you're able to dispose that directly. But as far as appliances, electronics, tires, abandoned vehicles, those types of things, we're still collecting. And if you've not contacted your mayor's office, please do so. The money there's an end to the money, right? And so we say it ends at the end of the fiscal year, which is September 30. But if the funds run out sooner, then it'll be gone. And so I know we're working with Senator San Augustine and also with the Lieutenant Governor to see if there's additional funding for that, so that the villages can continue to dispose these types of recyclables.
Yeah, we're debuting another Dirty Politics this morning, where we were able to go out to 1,000 Steps with Manila Mayor Alan Gata And when you talked about tires, trash, abandoned vehicles, that's exactly what we found at 1,000
Right.
steps.
And that's an example. I spoke to Mayor Ngakta and I spoke to Mayor Savaris about the types of trash that they find in the illegal dumps and the quantity. And so initially, when what we receive from the Recycling Revolving Fund is just not sufficient to get rid of an initial sweep of all the illegal dump sites. And so we proposed perhaps $100,000 for one initial cleanup. And both mayors, and Manila and Dededo, just say that that's absolutely insufficient. And they're looking at upwards of $300,000 just for an initial sweep of their village. And it's understandable based on what you've seen at 1,000 steps and what Mayor Savaris goes through at the pipeline up in Dededo and other locations. And so we're hoping that through all of the different initiatives, we'll be able to resolve some of our illegal dumping issues. Well, and then I'll send a plug for an organization that's actually helping us. AK is accepting batteries from us, used vehicle batteries. So mayor's offices can accept the used vehicle batteries, and in May, AK will pick them up at no charge to us. As a matter of fact, they'll make a donation to the MPC or to the mayor's office for the pickup of those batteries. So if you have batteries that you want to get rid of, you can also call your mayor's office and make arrangements to get them picked up or to drop them off at your mayor's office.
Mayor, that was I believe that was a DPR park, the 1,000 steps, right? Do you think that more needs to be done in terms of Parks and Rec going around and cleaning up the parks that are in its inventory as we prepare for the reopening of the island on May 1st-ish?
Yeah, we can always do better, right? And we all know what our shortfalls are, whether it's the mayor's office or DPR. But I feel that concerted effort is the best route. We have a lot of volunteers that want to help clean up, and we don't want to just keep it all on the agency, even though the agency is charged with that responsibility. And we all know it, and we've heard it time and time again from different administrations that DPR is the least funded, they have the least amount of employees. Well, and we hear that with the mayors as well. But if we work together, and there's, like I said, there's a lot of organizations out there that are wanting to do these cleanups. And so I think that the bigger issue with that is disposal and the fees associated with disposal. But again, we're hoping that we can find funding to secure that.
Right on. Anything in closing, mayors? We're near the top of the hour here. What's going on this week?
I think we're good. I think that if people just give us a call, work with your mayor's office more, and I'm always willing to take a call too. We'd rather deal with it rather than have illegal dumping. So thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you, Mayor Jesse Alec. Hold on, Jason Solis, ladies and gentlemen.
I just had a real quick observation. Are you and Mayor Alec wearing the exact same shirt?
No, we're not.
Oh, no, I don't think we are.
You could have fooled me. I mean, it looks like down to the stitch. It looks like the same one.
I bought my clothes at Big Boy's clothes store.
Oh, I'm right behind you, Mayor.
Hey, well, you both have impeccable taste. I was just wondering. It looks the same.
Thank you, Jay.
Biba.
It's
Biba Island Print Monday.
Well, yeah, we'll use the hashtag Same Shirt Monday.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Mayor. Okay, there you go. Mayor Jesse Alec, the Mayor's Council of Guam president. We did reach out to Mayor Dededo Mayor Melissa Savaris to get her on. I kind of wanted to bring her on to just talk about that murder that happened. It was a crazy story, right? So obviously we did cover it on KUAM.com. And this was the case, Jay, with, thank you, yeah. Matthew Matabusan allegedly admitted to shooting Joshua Meno at Dededo April 15th. And then there were also some kind of disturbing images that had come out where he was actually photographed at the crime scene while they were investigating the murder. But if you go on KUM.com, the story talks about a trail of blood, basically, that went from where the body was found to the scene of the crime. And it does look kind of, if you read the magistrates, which we'll try and do coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, it does seem pretty cut and dry as to what had happened. But, there's always stuff that's behind the scenes that it's hard for us to confirm. But, on its face, though, it's already tragic enough that people can get shot to death in broad daylight on our island. It's crazy. The murders, we had the incident in Umatic, this Dedido murder, the beheading in Santa Rita. What is going on? Is it the drugs? Is this just the byproduct of living in a place where there's a crystal methamphetamine epidemic going on? 7:58, Monday, April 19th on The Breeze. We're KUAM FM in Agotnia, Guam. We're going to take a really quick break and come back at you on KUAM TV. So be ready. Again, jump over to KUAM TV. We got the Facebook Live feed going. We're right here on the radio, The Breeze 93.9, and there's also an audio stream on Docomo Channel 10. We're back in KUAM TV next, right here on the link.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
Looking for TV schedules, upcoming sports, or special presentations, or what you may have missed over the busy week you had? Well, look no further than KUAM Digital Digest. This weekly emailed newsletter puts all kinds of information in the hands of subscribers each and every week. Just subscribe and we will make sure you keep up with your favorites and stay informed and entertained throughout it all. Go to KUAM.com, click on the newsletter tab, give us your email address, and you are all set. Brought to you in digital partnership with King's Restaurant and Ruby Tuesday Guam. It's the KUAM Digital Digest, your weekly guide to the latest information and best entertainment on the stations and platforms of KUAM.
Morning, Guam. Hey, good morning. 8 o'clock. Good morning, KUAM TV. Looking good this morning, guys. Jason Salas.
Happy Monday, everyone. Good morning. Half a day.
Yeah, it is Monday, April 19th. The show is proudly brought to you by East West Rental, Cabo Enterprises, Carrier, IT&E, and our friends over at Jack in the Box, where just $3 will get you the new sauced and loaded curly fries, the new slow smoked bacon available in 2 flavors, triple cheddar and spicy pepper jack. Here's who's coming up on the show. Sergeant Paul Tapao, Guam Police Department. We were just talking about all of the crime that is going on. And I saw my friend Sergeant Baggy on the Facebook Live feed had put meth. Yes. So, so many of these crimes obviously are drug related. And Guam, let's be honest. We have been fighting the war on ice since the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. And the war has been over. They won, right? And we're living in this cesspool of meth on our island now. And I just wish we would see more of because the cops are doing what they do. They're getting the arrests, we just had a story last week, Department of Corrections, not even locking up nonviolent offenders, right? So the cops can go out and they can make these collars on these thieves who are stealing because of the drugs, to feed that need, that addiction. But then the Department of Corrections and the AG's office will just spit them right back out onto the street again. So, yeah, that's obviously part of the problem. And then you get a case. There was a case that we had on KUAM.com, Jay, where it was, there was a guy who violated a court order that wasn't even a day old. Where is that story here? We'll get that coming up here. Yeah, it's on our Facebook feed. Here we go. Elvis Taitagui. allegedly swung machete at victim while violating a day-old court order. In the story on KUAM.com, according to a magistrate's complaint, a protective order was issued Thursday requiring 47-year-old Tydegui to keep away from a certain person and their residence. Tydegui, however, allegedly showed up Friday to the man's Chalampago home where he allegedly began threatening another victim. While she tried to call to report the violation, Tydegui allegedly said, "If you're calling the police, I'm going to get my machete and make it worth it." Tydegui allegedly swung at the victim several times, holding the machete over her after shoving her down. When interviewed by police, Tydegui said he knew he wasn't supposed to be at the residence, but still went inside and took the machete. He also allegedly admitted to swinging the machete at the victim, but said he was only trying to scare the victim. He also denied pushing her. Yeah, and I mean, I don't even know the circumstances of this guy and like why he was out. But to me, it just kind of demonstrates what's going on there. And this is not even anecdotal. This is like the norm, right? If you look at our news, the crime, it's definitely ramped back up, right? I know Guam Police Department, they probably missed the days when everyone was staying home in a lockdown because people are pent up and they're being agagwa, and that's even putting it lightly. Hey, it's 8:04. So that's what's coming up on the show this morning. We're also debuting Dirty Politics. This is our weekly Earth Month segment, Jay.
And this is a fan favorite, this segment. People really get behind this because they're so embarrassed, irate, upset. You know, it's not even people that live in the village. I mean, if that's on your street, I mean, and you're not the slightest bit offended by that, I mean, that's one thing. But, you know, you got people from halfway across the island who are saying, you know, this is my home. I don't want this under. And then this week, you and Sabrina went out to 1,000 Steps, which you were just saying with the Mayor's Council President, Mayor Jesse Allig, is a public park. It's a known place where people are supposed to go to, you know, relax, to frolic, to have a good time, take selfies, and instead they're taking selfies for all the wrong reasons.
Right. So that's coming up here. And then we've also got a little bit of Beyond Our Borders, which is a great segment by Nestor Lecanto, who, in case you guys are wondering, is he stuck?
He was supposed to be back in early March because, you know, it was funny because when I was producing that show with him and I joked around with him before we started recording, I was like, hey, Ness, man, how long have you been out there? He goes, it's actually 4 months exactly now because the infection surge happened again. They had another lockdown.
Yeah. So if you're wondering what's going on in the Philippines, they're surging right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Nestor has a great interview with the leading public policy expert in the PI about the country's recent spike in COVID infections and the government's battle to contain the spread in the hard-hit Metro Manila region.
And sorry, real quick, Chris, one thing when we do show the episode of like Dirty Politics, you brought in the mayor of Manila, Alan Angacta, who everybody knows is such a jovial, like happy fellow, and he's always so happy to, you know, share a laugh, tell a story. You know, he wants to hear about what your experience is.
Oh, not this time.
Yeah, I don't think I heard him laugh once.
Yeah.
He's always just like, you know, one of those real nice Chamorro guys, like, hey, dude, what are you doing?
Mayor out.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Chris, but I mean,
Mayor out.
He was like so deadpan serious because he's realizing, you know, this is his community, this is on his shoulders, and he's upset.
I mean, God, you would be upset too.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming up here.
But just his reaction was so telling. It's like, you know, if you've ever talked to Mayor Al, it's like, you know, nicest guy in the world.
He is, yeah. When you piss off Mayor Al, you know you're definitely doing something wrong because it takes a lot to get him mad. Hey, it's 8:06. Welcome to The Link. Let's go ahead and get into the news now with the very latest. Oh, we've also got work week weather coming up with Landon Idlett and the National Weather Service, okay? From the KUAM News team with the very latest, good morning, Jason Solis.
Good morning, everybody. 101 test samples were taken on Saturday, and 4 tested positive for COVID-19. There have been 7,869 such positive cases since last March, when the first 3 cases were reported. There have been 136 deaths in our island community. The CAR score remains at 0.3. As far as vaccinations, over 111,000, close to 112,000 to be frank, vaccines have been administered, with more than 65,000 of your fellow Guamanians getting their first dose. Close to 47,000 of your neighbors have now received both doses and are fully immunized. The man accused of killing 25-year-old Josh Meno is claiming self-defense, as Matthew Manabusan allegedly admitted to shooting Meno in Dededo on April 15th. Meno's lifeless body was found on Haasu Drive over on Swamp Road, with GPD noticing a blood trail from Meno's deceased body leading towards a residence off the roadway where Manabusan was staying with several other people. Manabusan did say he shot Minnow, but claims Minnow had been threatening his cousins while brandishing a machete, and that he was afraid Minnow would hurt him or his girlfriend in the home, so Manabusan shot Minnow first. He is a repeat violent offender, having a criminal history dating back to 2002. He did appear for a magistrate's hearing this past weekend, and he was held on $100,000 cash bail. Let's go over to the newsroom now to give you a look at what else is happening throughout the island. Here is Peter Santos.
Hafade, good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Santos with your headlines here on The Link. Another motion hearing was heard Friday in Guam District Court in the long-running clergy sex abuse civil case. The church first filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in January 2019. It was forced to sell off assets such as the former Redemptorist Mater Seminary in Zotnya to help pay for the more than 200 claims filed against the local Catholic clergy for alleged abuse that dates back decades. Today, Archdiocese of Agana attorney Ford Alcacer argued to exclude other church assets from any claim settlement.
We believe that the parishes are not part of the bankruptcy property, the bankruptcy estate, as it's called. And I think you've all heard the arguments and reported on them. So I don't really want to get into a discussion, especially while, we really are just waiting for the judge's decision, and we'll be able to answer those questions then. Thanks.
The church has been in mediation with the attorney for plaintiffs on and off to try and reach a settlement for more than a year. Chief Judge Francis Tarinco Gatewood will ultimately rule on the bankruptcy petition and settlement. A grand jury indictment charges Joyner Sked and Rudy Kanata with murder as a first-degree felony and aggravated assault as a second-degree felony. The charges against Sked include a special allegation of the use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony attached. The couple were arrested earlier this month for the brutal beating and murder of former UMADAC Mayor Daniel Sanchez. He was found lifeless in Kanata's home after police were called upon for a welfare check. As we reported last week, GFD arson investigators responded to the crime scene of Kanata's home after it had went up in flames. The Guam Racing Federation just needs the CLTC to greenlight their proposed lease before it makes its way to lawmakers. Here's more from the latest CLTC meeting.
Currently on a month-to-month lease agreement, the Guam Racing Federation has submitted their newly proposed 50-year lease for Guam's only raceway park, after the last one hit a bit of a speed bump. Guam Racing Federation General Manager Henry Simpson says that's been taken care of.
There were some hindrances to that, and so we sat down with the Chamorro Land Trust Commission and worked those out. And in our proposed lease, that has all been settled.
According to Simpson, part of the issue was the distinction between mineral extraction like you'd find at a rock quarry and the excess materials left over from constructing the raceway.
The difference between mineral extraction and excess graded materials has been misunderstood by people. And it looks like sometimes because of the amount of grading we're doing out there, that we're extracting minerals, but we're not. We're building a finished product, the racetrack, when it's done. We're a little uncertain as to our future right now until we get this 50-year lease, but we feel very confident it's going to work out well.
The proposed lease will need to be approved by the Chamorro Land Trust Commission before it makes its way over to the legislature for a vote.
That's the news for now. We'll see you all at 6 tonight on Primetime.
All right, Pete, thanks so much. 30 volunteers in environmental news from the PIC team picked up more than 100 pounds of trash during a cleanup last week. The cleanup started in front of PIC on Palasan Vitores Road in Tumon, stretching to the front of the Guam Visitors Bureau's office in the Central Village. Great job by our friends at PIC for taking care of our island. The University of Guam, via the NASA Guam Space Grant, will offer its first ever drone certification and training initiative for UOG students. The UOG Drone Corps aims to build a team of FAA-certified drone pilots. The operators will practice flying unmanned aerial vehicles, capturing drone footage and data for local agencies. That's awesome news. And now with a look at your island news headlines in Guam's native tongue of Chamorro, here is our own Kin Concepcion.
Barisan Hafade tiga suntuk Hinut Chamorro gini KUM News pada Lunes 19 Abril 2021. Zitauto ni Mataki na puno si Joshua Meno, 25 anos na idade. Ele ainda podia defender mamãe sagui. Segundo o magistrate na complaint contra si Matthew Manibusan, admite na ataque si Meno gizadete dogi Kensi Gerbid. E complaint sa Mataki si Manibusan na mamuno gi primeiro grado na felony, dan special na alegação sa podia nasabi at mas mamuno ane committee felony. Matutun ni polisia investigation niya, después ane matsoda si Meno na mata gi Hahasu Drive giza Swamp Road. Ano gi dokumento ni Korti na mali restaurant haga gin ni Tanya si Meno istagwato gi unguma gi fiona ne sumasaga si Manibusan dan otrusiha. Matungo en fin na sumugo si Meno gui hinaguma para utsupa dan para utsotsu. Masangan ni mantistigo gui na umagumento si Meno dan otutauto. Za atsa gagawnya itauto ni machati. Malagi tauto halong gi gima za sangani si Manibusan. Después umuzing si Manibusan za atmasnya za paki si Meno. Mamoka si Meno istagwato gi itsalan gi después. Manota ni polisia dan bala na klasin satnud. Gi papayagapa na kustizasnya si Meno. Dokumento ni Koti ilingnya si Manibusan na paki si Meno lo aklama na haga sa aspanta jana na masaw kontra primunya siya mentas agogoti macetri za maonyo gwi na unani na alamin jani nubianya gwi hanungguma pesadzo na paki finene na afanui sa Manibusan ni polisia tay mano poro masoda ay paki za istabay gyalo may compartment ni bus eskwela ni mastete siyang kita tinigima taza desisyon niya si Manibusan pero fangat gaad mas za maparoro ay hasta seso si Manibusan maresta po kinantadisan MP2 za historing kriminal sa 32,000 ang sakan. Ano para ito na magistrate's hearing gisabalo za masusteni por 102,000 pesos na beo. Pero birag itatigi korti gida 27 gerbrit. Gimat sa sunto, marisibi gipangin bednes gilas 10 na oray nagang E911 put malingo na pescador gifyon ni Pantalan Malasso. Ni report si Rika Shargalov, the acting spokesperson para Guam Fire Department, manmatun sigida si unit siya gini Guam Fire Department sa makoni tato para Naval Hospital Gisaganya Heights. Mapifot may CPR gitato gikenegwatu. Taza tabi informasyon puri kondisyon niya itato. Otro artikulo Ungin ang empleo ni Department sa Salud Publiko at Serbisyon Sosyal si Sharon Afaisin Shargalov sa mahinday por manyaki no segundo grado na felony zaniya na sebi no probido beneficio ni Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program but SNAP no mina 3 grado na felony. Todo istido sa gay special na alegasyon por kinantradisi kontra komunidad no setong buhi na inataki. Gimastalo mahinday sa pwede diroga ay record gobernamento siya no 3 grado na felony zani official misconduct no misdemeanor. Segundo a oficina ni Rada Bugarong Guahan, mataki si Shargalov na hatrampas si SNAP benefits para si Peter John Shargalov ani matsotso para Department of Public Health and Social Services. Yung oficina ni AGE sa ma-explika na SNAP na programa sa nanay beneficio para nengkano para maski 20,000 na familia gwinigi sa Guahan para fiscal year 2020. Dato na programa sa matisa mas beneficio kada mes sa Pudipesti. Ito na arrangement si Shargalov sa Dear 30 giabrit. Yutumu Domingo, a Makin Island Amphibious Ready Group, an embarked 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit sa Manmatugi U.S. Naval Base Guam para un rato para probiso siya ng papamangon ni Tautaw siya. Marine ni Marine siya sa Timan Basedi para umandingoy Naval Base Guam. Mantas manggaya gi liberty necesita do matatizi todo ay reglamento ni COVID-19 dagi para manaset bi mask da para manasiguro na manggasgas siya da para maosgi da mapraktiko din instansyan syusyad. Gay Webes sumugo un rato lokwi Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group para pareho na rason. Timan Basedi lokwi na para umandingoy pantalan sa pudi COVID-19 na riskaw. Para KUAM News, Guausikin Conception.
And remember, everybody, if you'd like to find out what's happening here at home 24/7, make sure to go to KUAM.com. And make sure to stay tuned because the link is coming up. And after this, Landon Idlet joins us from the National Weather Service, and we have your work week weather forecast. That's coming up after the break right here on KUAM.
Only one company on Guam provides every solar energy solution under one roof. Micronesia Renewable Energy. You want solar only? They got that. You want solar with batteries? They got that too. You want outright purchase or lease purchase? It's up to you. Does your solar system need a tune-up? That's what they do. For solar energy solutions from A to Z, you can count on MRE. Give them a call at 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, providing real solar solutions built by real solar experts.
Uno Go, delivering meals from your favorite restaurants and more, including delivering sodas and adult beverages from the Bottle Shack. Visit uno-go.com or download the app today. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
When we throw things away, where is away? What happens to our waste, and where does it go? As a community of small islands, the waste crisis is a large issue we want to bring into focus. Micronesia Climate Change Alliance presents From Our Nanas for Our Nennies, a video series about taking a holistic view of our present, finding wisdom from our past, and inspiring a better future. Airing every week during Earth Month, brought to you by Humanities Guahan and the National Endowment for the Humanities.
This year, the Think Green Annual Cleanup goes virtual. Organize your community cleanup, post and tag with hashtag ThinkGreenGuam on social media. And we'll share your cleanup in our multimedia platforms and in a special montage on KUAM News Weekend Edition during the last weekend in April. Sustainability matters, part of the KUAM Care Force's commitment to our community. In partnership with the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Guam Green Growth. Presented by Green Energy Solutions, Inc. Reduce before you produce. GESI. Special thanks to Micronesian Brokers, Inc.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
Only one company on Guam provides every solar energy solution under one roof, Micronesia Renewable Energy. You want solar only? They got that. You want solar with batteries? They got that too. You want outright purchase or lease purchase? It's up to you. Does your solar system need a tune-up? That's what they do. For solar energy solutions from A to Z, you can count on MRE. Give them a call at 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, providing real solar solutions built by real solar experts.
KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link.
Times wanna say what's on my mind, but I didn't. Just the other day, I wrote down all the things I said, but I can't. I just couldn't. Baby, I know that you've been wondering. Oh, so here goes nothing. In case you didn't know, baby, I'm crazy about you. I would be lying if I said that I could live my life without you. Even though I don't tell you all the time, you had my heart a long, long time ago. In case you didn't know, in case you didn't know, the way you look tonight, that second glass of wine got me thinking. There's something about the kiss.
Good stuff there.
Boy, you did
Micronation, in case you didn't know. Monday.
In case you didn't know, Guam was, as our friend Landon Idler from the NWS said, was spared because what has become a rather large storm passed us. A far away, but it is looking to have some sort of effect on the east coast of the Philippine Islands right now.
Right. 8:23. So Mondays we do work week weather with Landon Idler from the National Weather Service, and there's definitely a lot of talk last week, Landon, as we're starting off with an image. What are we looking at here?
Well, this is our Typhoon Sortige that we were talking about all week last week. This has been an incredibly slow-moving system from the time it was first depicted in the long-range forecast models all the way through its development near Yap and Palau, and now it's sitting east of the Philippines. So where exactly on this map are we looking? Well, there's the Philippines. So a lot of people have been messaging our Facebook page here at the Weather Service from the Philippines. Is it going to hit us? How bad is it going to be? And so we can't officially forecast for the Philippines. We have to direct them to the Pagasa agency there. But the good news is for the Philippines, this is not going to be making a direct landfall on any of the islands of the Philippines. It's going to keep just east. But the bad news for them is it is crawling. If you see this forward motion, this is over the last 12 hours or so. It's not going anywhere fast, and it's going to continue at that slow rate of speed, at least for the next couple days. It's still Category 4 typhoon with maximum sustained winds of 140 miles per hour. That is down significantly from its peak intensity, I believe was yesterday, of 190 miles per hour, the strongest April typhoon on record. So we've had some pretty powerful typhoons in the month of April through the recorded history since the late 1940s, but this is tops the charts at 190 mile per hour sustained winds, peak intensity yesterday. Currently moving 6 miles per hour to the northwest, and it's centered about 14.2 north, 126.4 east, just outside of the Guam area of responsibility. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit. One of the key things that we're going to be focusing on, and as you may have seen in weekend headlines and releases from the Guam Homeland Security and our forecast page, hazardous seas and surf. They're going to be here through today and through much of the week, because as this thing spins over there to our west, it's generating large swell and seas and surf for our region. We issued a surf advisory, I think it was Friday night, Saturday morning, for the large southwest swell that's shifting toward the west now. And so we're having hazardous surf across all the Marianas, Yap and Palau. And so that's going to continue for a while until this thing eventually gets out of the area. And again, it's not going to be moving fast. And as far as our weather expectations are concerned, it's not a done deal for the Mariana Islands, because this thing is forecast to track and turn north and then northeast and then pass well north of us. But as it does so, later this weekend, we could see showers and thunderstorms within a convergent tail that extends well south of that typhoon. So keep in mind, that's going to stay way away from us, but we could see weather from this later this weekend. So Jason, if you go to the slides, I'll start talking about what we're going to be seeing right now. And it's a busy morning here in the world of weather. We have a lot of advisories currently in effect. We have a high surf advisory for west-facing reefs. I'm going to go into more detail shortly. High risk of rip current, small craft advisory has been issued this morning. Fire weather watch. Well, there's no watch right now, but our fire danger is extreme. So keep in mind, as long as the winds stay light, our fire threat or our fire danger is going to be a little bit mitigated because of the lighter winds. We've had a couple of fires around the island, and of course, if you looked in the newspaper this morning, our radar was in one of the pages of the Daily Post. There was a grass fire near our radar. Luckily, the radar site is fine. Fire danger is, again, extreme. Moderate drought continues in Saipan and Tinian, and across Micronesia. High surf advisory for Palau and Yap, also from the typhoon. Drought information statement continues every 2 weeks from our office for extreme drought in Walchee, the Marshall Islands, and severe drought for Kapinga, Maringi, and Kwajalein. The next slide. Currently this morning, we have east-northeast winds light at 7 miles per hour, partly cloudy with a few light showers. Current temperature is 79 degrees and climbing. Yesterday's rainfall, we had 0 inches here at the airport, but I put a little star there because if you noticed along the west side of the island, we had a little bit of island convection. The winds were light enough to allow some of that convection to pop up on the west side, generate some briefly heavy showers along westernmost parts of Guam and then offshore. We could see that again today and the next several days if the winds remain light enough. Since April 1st, just over 1.3 inches of rain for the month, and since January 1st, just a little over 9 inches, and we're down from the normal of 14.14 inches. Next slide, that shows our satellite picture where we are related to the world famous typhoon right now. This is the strongest storm on Earth, as media folks like to talk about it in the States. Category 4, and that's well west of us. Nothing much exciting for us as far as that's concerned, other than seas and surf. The next slide does show the polar orbiting satellite showing the winds at the surface. And I zoomed in on Guam and CNMI. This is those lighter winds that we're dealing with yesterday and today, and this could help initiate some of the island convection. If these stronger winds, the dark blues off to the far right, do move in, which they're going to eventually make their way in, that'll help push off any convection further offshore and off of the island. But as you know, it's dry out there, and we do need that rainfall to help mitigate the fire danger. The next slide, that is our island convection setup again, the sea breeze during the day and the land breeze at night. The land warms up faster than the water surrounding us, so we get that convection over the island, and any wind that pushes around the region will direct where that convection really sets up. And the next slide shows us where we are right now. We have a light east wind, and that's going to help push the convection a little bit toward the west parts of the island. If it's too much west wind, it'll push it offshore or mitigate its development in the grand scheme of things. The next slide, that is our surf advisory. Again, this is for west-facing reefs, so not all beaches, not all exposures will be dealing with a hazardous surf and the high waves, just west-facing. And this is from that bullet of energy on the right-hand side. That's from a large swell coming at about 255, 260 degrees. And beaches affected, that include Ritidian Beach, Tangeethan Beach, down to parts of Tumon Bay, more so Gun Beach, Nico, and western areas. The Hilton is more of a north-facing beach. Ipoh Beach is more north-facing, so you're protected to some extent. It's going to be those westernmost parts or the easternmost parts of Tumon Bay, Nico, Gun Beach, etc. Oka Point, Jonestown Cliffs, Erode Point, and then the Agate Beach down to Stella Bay, Study Bay, Umatic Bay, where a lot of people were surfing yesterday. It was a beautiful scene out there. But keep in mind, the large waves can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So when in doubt, don't go out. The next slide shows the Ritidian buoy. Combined seas 8 to 10 feet. We do have a small craft advisory in effect this morning for this hazardous seas of 10 feet. West swell 7 to 9 feet and a northeast swell of 3 feet. We're still above model guidance, that green line showing several pulses of larger swell sets coming through the buoy. And you look at the 24th and 25th at the end of this chart on the right, you see that upward motion. Well, that could be a part of that typhoon passing well to our north. It may direct our winds and strengthen them and in the long term. So do pay attention to forecasts later this week as we get a better feel for where that system, the remnants of the typhoon, will pass well to our north. It could again generate larger seas and surf for our region in the coming days. So the week ahead, mostly sunny this morning, partly to mostly cloudy this afternoon, mainly for westernmost parts of Guam, Rototeni, and Saipan, with isolated showers. If the island convection does get initiated today, there could be more scattered showers and more coverage along the westernmost parts and the western waters. So do keep an eye on that if you're going to be out there swimming today. East winds around 10 miles per hour, combined seas on the open waters, 8 to 10 feet, winds at 5 to 10 knots, small craft advisory. And then of course, we talked about the surf, 10 to 12 feet, high surf along west facing, elsewhere less with a moderate rip risk. Midweek, partly to mostly cloudy, not much change in the weather. The possibility of island convection along the west side of the island. Winds a little bit more east, 10 to 15 miles per hour. And this weekend, it'll start nice on Saturday, but we could see showers and thunderstorms developing Saturday night, Sunday. with winds shifting to the southeast and south around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Combined seas will stay elevated through most of this week with the typhoon in our broader region. So keep in mind, as we move forward, it really doesn't look bad for us, but things can change with little time or warning. So yeah, as long as that typhoon's in the area, we're going to see the hazards persist in the waters.
Yeah, Landon, I got a quick question, because the screen that you had right in front of you, right? When it was giving your forecast about that storm right now, it passed obviously Yap and Koror, and it's going towards the east coast of the Philippines right now. You said it poses no threat to us as it continues to kind of do that curving effect up towards the northeast. Is there anything in science that could even possibly remotely have that come back down on top of us?
I've had that question a number of times, and that's not at all likely. It's just with the broader steering mechanisms in the atmosphere and of the region as a whole. So we had that ridge that was north of this typhoon, and that ridge was keeping it suppressed southward instead of making that eventual turn to the north. Some model projections 2 weeks ago had it coming over Guam, and then just west of Guam, and then farther west of Guam. And finally, it started to make that turn because of that ridge to the north. And so as far as this thing doing a complete 180 and coming straight at Guam, not at all likely.
That would be a major anomaly right there. Because, okay, Link family, I'm going to need your help on this. But was it, guys, was it Super Typhoon Karen or Pamela? Because, Chris, we were too young to remember that. But I think it actually came around and then came back, right?
That's a question better for Landon.
Yeah.
Let me see. I don't think I can pull it up on the software I have right now, but as far as any typhoons making its turn back, I have a lot of those rumors come to me about the Pangsonghua back in 2002, and they say it hit Guam and then it turned around and hit us again. That is not the case. And I think a lot of times people may get mixed up with when you have a direct passage overhead, you have that eye and it calms down, it clears out. And it could be for anywhere from a period of minutes to several hours, depending on the size of that eye and the forward motion of that storm. And I think sometimes people can think it's a second storm, but that's not the case.
So what are we looking at for, is it too far ahead to look at this weekend, Landon?
Yeah, this weekend, again, I'm not a big fan of showing the model forecast because they're more long range and things can change in the long range, but this is what we're looking at. This typhoon, we're looking at Sunday, a week from yesterday, with the remnants of that storm well north of Guam and Saipan Pier. Let me flip my screen. Oops, there we go. So we're looking at the bigger picture here. So Guam, Roatan, and Saipan is down here, and the remnants are way up here. So it's going to be coming up along the coast and then eventually make its way toward the northeast into the farther northern Pacific, well out of our area. But we're going to have this convergence area, and several models are picking up on that area of convergence. It's feeding into the remnants of that typhoon, whatever shape or form it's going to take, and bring it towards our area. So again, here's Guam and the CNMI, and it brings that over us Sunday and Monday. So keep that in mind. If this does pan out, we could see showers and thunderstorms and gusty south to southwest winds. The other models shows similar but lesser winds for us, but still from the southeast. So I'm backing it up a little bit. That typhoon's coming from along the Philippines. I'm going backwards, so don't worry. People might be freaking out when they see it backwards. But this is going to turn up north and then northeast and then keep well up into to our north and then get pulled out to sea.
Yeah, Landon, we got a couple people in comments. Thank you to both Glenn Lujan and Luce and Nicholas, and they were saying they believe that it was Pamela that when it made its approach to us, and Pamela was 76. Which one was first?
70. Yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna give
Pamela
you
was 76.
76.
Because there was a store called Pamela 76 in Anigua.
Ah, that's right.
Totally scientific.
Yeah, but I think because I remember my grandfather would tell me that there was one storm where it hit us and then it oddly came around and hit us again, but that wasn't the when you get a direct hit passing through the eye wall twice thing. But
so
I'm sure that's going to be an
that's
extreme outlier.
Track. That's the track of Pamela, and Guam is right there. So it went straight over the island but without doing the loop back over us. But
Wow.
there is a loop in its developmental stages, and that's the trickiest thing is when these things are developing, their motion can be slow, erratic, and ever-changing, and that's what we were dealing with this last storm as it was developing in eastern Yap State and then near Yap and Nulu, and then eventually it got itself together and started moving very slowly westward. And so that's what we're looking at here in Micronesia. So this is near, it looks like Pohnpei and Chuuk, and then it got its act together and then passed right over Guam right there.
Wow, that one's from the archives. We had a comment here. Omar went north of us, then turned around. Barbara White called it.
Well, let me see. I know I have.
Well, you got your app open there,
Leonard. I was going through all the newspapers when I took over this desk from Chip Guard, and I have a lot of old papers from the 60s and 70s from these classic storms. Let's see, here we go. I'm pulling up Omar now.
Yeah, and while Landon's talking, I've also got Joser's going to bring me up, but I'm actually on the Wikipedia article for Typhoon Pamela.
Are we going Wikipedia now?
1976, and okay, so you got that, sir? I know
Yeah,
that
so this is
that storm,
Typhoon
that was a
Omar.
big sucker.
Whoops, there we go. Typhoon Omar. And it just went straight across the island. So like I said, it's very rare, if not impossible, for storms to do a complete 180 and go backwards. That's just not likely in the steering mechanisms of the weather pattern overall in this region. But nature does what nature does. And so that's why we're always here watching things. But yeah, we do have all the historical tracks of typhoons since the 1940s. And so we're always excited to talk about all things typhoons in the region.
Well,
And
there you
there's
go.
Guam right there.
I know no matter what, people will look at that and say, yeah, that's not what happened. We lived through it.
Yeah, and that's what we're here for. We're here to clear up confusion and put out the best forecast so people are prepared. And so as far as these storms are concerned, this is our first real major storm that we've had in the region. And so typhoon season, the busy part of the year, is still coming. So especially for folks in Yap and Palau, whatever they had problems with as far as preparations, this is where they address their problems, their shortcomings, and then be better prepared in the future. And this is always a thing that we have to keep in mind as we prepare for the typhoon season coming later this year for us.
Right on. Well, thanks for your time again, Landon. And you're available if anything
Always.
pops up with the weather. Shoot us a text and we'll jam you back on.
Yeah, hey, great job, like
Absolutely.
doing your social media. Like I saw that you and your brother were doing like the Facebook Lives, keeping everybody, informed of what was going on in the storm. Man, you guys are top notch, man.
Well, that's one thing I want to change, especially regarding our outreach, our communications, and Weather Ready Nation in general, is I want to be doing a lot more live Facebook feeds because social media is where the information is now. We got to face the fact the Weather Service right now can no longer operate as it did in the 1980s and 1990s. It's just not that climate as far as information and sharing data. So we have to be where people are getting that information, and that's where we want to focus our communications platforms. Where are people getting information? Where can we better reach people so that everybody has access to our information? And so the feedback that we get from you all, the comments that we get on our Facebook page, that's what helps me drive where we are communicating and how we communicate. So when we do have those threats for Guam, we're definitely going to be upping our game as far as communications and broadcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, Landon grew up in the Carolinas. He's got family in Florida, family out in Washington and everything, and now he makes Guam like his home. He knows a thing or two about storms. He's got a pedigree.
Yeah. And I got a lot of archives in this office behind me on those bookshelves in the file cabinet. So Chip Guard set me up well with the data, the information, the historical archives.
The hard copy.
Now I just need time to go through it.
Landon, that's actually what Chris's bookshelf looks like. It's just they're all like Spawn and X-Men.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks.
Hey,
Well,
I got no problem with that.
Thank
This
you.
is my desk after last week. It looks like a typhoon came through here.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'll be dealing with emails and filing papers and stuff. It's a lot of cleanup I got to do, but it's all worth it.
Well, thanks, Landon, for your time this morning.
Absolutely.
We'll see you there. Landon Ilett of the National Weather Service. Quick break, and we're back with Dirty Politics Next, right here on The Link. Good morning.
Learn more about Catch SportsLink on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday to hear about the latest in sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. SportsLink, brought to you each week by Cure Alkaline Water, airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM, on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. SportsLink is hosted by Dave Delgado through KUAM Sports, and he will make sure that everyone knows what is happening on the fields, in the gyms, and everywhere in between.
Family platter of fried chicken?
Check.
Tray of red rice?
Check.
Birthday cake?
Check.
1 case of water?
Check.
12-pack of beer?
Check.
2 cases of Pepsi?
Check.
When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, UnoGo has that too.
It's Dirty Politics Weekly on the Link, live on location. Every week, Chris and Sabrina will interview different political leaders out in the field to address environmental problems in our community. See firsthand how illegal dumps, littering, and other issues are plaguing our beautiful island and what's being done to help. Part of our Sustainability Matters campaign for Earth Month, in partnership with the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Guam Green Growth. Presented by Green Energy Solutions, Inc. Reduce before you produce. GESI. Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link.
When we throw things away, where is away? What happens to our waste, and where does it go? As a community of small islands, the waste crisis is a large issue we want to bring into focus. Micronesia Climate Change Alliance presents From Our Nanas for Our Nennies, a video series about taking a holistic view of our present, finding wisdom from our past, and inspiring a better future. Airing every week during Earth Month, brought to you by Humanities Guahan and the National Endowment for the Humanities.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
As a reporter, I often ask people what compelled them to get the COVID-19 vaccine. For me, someone who's lived through coronavirus, I can't help but fear the idea of possibly infecting others, unknowingly passing it along to someone with a lesser immune system, someone's mother, father, grandparent, or someone who wouldn't be as blessed to suffer only minor symptoms. When I contracted COVID, that is what weighed most on my heart and mind, and that's why I did everything in my power to prevent this from happening, by following public health protocols. And now I am doing the same thing, being mindful my decisions, choices, and actions don't only affect me, but the entire nation. So I chose to get vaccinated, simply to protect others. My name is Adriana Cotero. I'm a KUAM News reporter and anchor, and a proud member of the Vaccine Nation.
Join the vaccination. Scan and plan. For more information, go to KUAM.com.
Addis Trust and Investment, location, service, trust, is a proud partner of the KUAM Care Force. This year, the Think Green Annual Cleanup goes virtual. Organize your community cleanup, post and tag with hashtag ThinkGreenGuam on social media. And we'll share your cleanup in our multimedia platforms and in a special montage on KUAM News Weekend Edition during the last weekend in April. Sustainability matters, part of the KUAM Care Force's commitment to our community.
In partnership with the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Guam Green Growth.
Presented by Green Energy Solutions, Inc. Reduce before you produce. GESI. Special thanks to Micronesian Brokers, Inc.
Ooh, this feeling must be real. The way you make me smile, the way you make me feel. There you were, the one that I've been waiting for, my answered prayer, like an angel sent from up above, my shooting star. You are my love, my dream, my meant to be. When we touch, I get this funny feeling in my heart. When we kiss, I'm never one for us to be apart. Ooh, whenever you're with me, I get these butterflies, my knees just get so weak. Oh, there you
Oh, man, I gotta let that one rock for a minute. As it's suddenly gray and overcast here in our beautiful Harmon Studios, Huttman. 8:49. The link is proudly brought to you by East West Rental, Cabo Enterprises, Carrier from Aircon Babies at 647 Cool IT&E, and Jack in the Box, where you get the new $3 sauced and loaded curly fries with new slow smoked bacon. Available in 2 flavors, triple cheddar and spicy pepper jack. And our work week weather was brought to you by Mariana's Coatings. Thanks for jumping on board. Good morning. Let's go to do Dirty Politics. It's something we're doing every week for Earth Month with Sabrina Salas-Mentanani and I. Heading out to various... Unfortunately, there's too many illegal dumps to get to in 1 month, but we're trying. And so this is link on location, Dirty Politics, 1,000 steps. You ready, sir? Good morning. Again, KUAM TV land, good morning on you. Facebook Live, how's it? It's the link, is what it is. Dirty Politics right now.
It's Dirty Politics Weekly on the Link, live on location. Every week, Chris and Sabrina will interview different political leaders out in the field to address environmental problems in our community. See firsthand how illegal dumps, littering, and other issues are plaguing our beautiful island and what's being done to help. Part of our Sustainability Matters campaign for Earth Month, in partnership with the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Guam Green Growth. Presented by Green Energy Solutions, Inc. Reduce before you produce. GESI.
Off a day for Sabrina Salas-Mentanani, Chris Barnett, here, link on location for Dirty Politics. Yep. You know, for Dirty Politics, every week we're going out to illegal dumps. Now, this is during Earth Month, but there's so many illegal dumps on Guam, we could do this weekly for a year without running out of places to go. It sucks. People are stupid. I'm so disgusted with our people. It's disgusting. And we're here at 1,000 Steps in Manila. Now, 1,000 Steps, now if you Google things to do on Guam, I like to call it one of Guam's wonders, because people go to 1,000 Steps all the time. We're here with Manila Mayor Al Ongata. But yeah, so this is actually a Parks and Rec park. But because of the way it's situated, you come down like a Cascal Road, and then it ends up at a dead end here. And that makes it an ideal spot for stupid idiots to come and dump their stupid trash. And we've got all kinds of, what do you want? What do you want? You guys want white goods? We got white goods. We got refrigerators. What you need? What you need? You need some tires? We got tires. We got computers. We got beer. We got gaming chairs, guys. Pampers, beer. Mayor, we got it all down here. And this is just, it's disgusting, really. It really is.
Well, first of all, just like to acknowledge the countless people that effortlessly come to this area. Needless enough to say that they with so many things that they could be doing, they come and spend their time to clean up. And to see this now, and they're familiar with this area, that this is where the outcome is again. And even with the pandemic 1 year, this is the outcome of what's going on. So, like I said, thank you for all those nonprofit groups, everybody that contributed in one way or shape or form, and then just people in general that hike here and call the office, communicate with myself or EPA in regards to what's illegally being dumped down here and us trying to address it. So it takes everyone's effort to come now and pull together resources and try to clean up this place as much as we can.
You're getting mad.
As you mentioned, though, it's a Parks and Recs park.
Right.
And you're cleaning it up.
Yeah, does Parks and
does Parks and Recs come out here?
Well, everything is I think it's through a sign. Like I mentioned earlier, one of my constituents called me. Lo and behold, you guys give me a call. He says, Mayor, can you come up here because arbitrarily somebody did it intentionally, dropped the load up there because of course they don't have the means of coming down here, block the access that hampers the people that's going into this up to Rivera Street. So now that he calls me, I say, hey, let me go down and see what's going on. Lo and behold, come down and this is the product.
Right, and so what had happened is just this morning we scheduled a shoot. Mayor House said that someone dumped trash right at the front of the road here, blocking the access to this site. I mean, Mayor, it's one thing that they drive all the way in here to dump the trash. It's another when they can't even drive in here and they dump it right out there on the main road. But you sound pissed off about this.
Well, I got to be civil about it. But I'm really frustrated and disappointed. And like I said, even with just the people, like I said, that want to make a difference. And first off, the ones that are doing this, you know who you are. Let's just put it out there. You know who's doing this. You know what you've done. And this is a product of it. And this is our island. This is our community. This is what we're going to leave behind for our kids to see.
Yeah, this is what we're going to leave behind for our kids to see.
Do you like what you see? I don't like what I see.
It's just disgusting. Mayor, who's dumping here though? Is it the people of Mangilaw? Because if it is, I guess Mungie Town's not so mungie anymore.
Chris, it's very hard. These people get creative. You go to the bags, you're not going to find receipts. You're not going to find a pill, medicine bottle, or even a postal. These guys get creative, so they know what they're doing when they're dumping things like this out here in the, how would you say, it's supposed to be a scenic site.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a scenic site, but it's more of an eyesore.
There's a gate out there. Somebody locked the gate. When is it open? When is this area open?
Well, we tried with with Mr. Ken Koki, partner up. In fact, he's the one that repaired the gates. We put padlocks, believe it or not, just as much as it was secured. They made the extra effort to break it and come in.
Now, Mayor, your boys, your staff out here cleaning up. This is a place that, you're right, we get a lot of nonprofits that come out to kind of clean it up. I don't know why Parks and Rec isn't out here cleaning it up. But, for you and your staff to continuously come out here and be checking on it and to find the same thing every time, how frustrating is that?
Well, it gets frustrating and it's very challenging. But at the end of the day, it's our community, it's our island. If we all pull together one way or another and pitch in, I think we'll get it cleaned up as a little at a time. I mean, it's plaguing our island, let's be frank. It's plaguing our island, this trash issue.
Why do you think people are dumping their trash here?
So all sorts of reasons, perhaps. Maybe they can't afford it. Maybe they think if you go over there and nobody catches you, you get away, you save a few bucks. But that's not encouraging. And we shouldn't be encouraging any illegal activities like this.
What services do you provide if somebody says, hey, I need help throwing away this abandoned vehicle or this old refrigerator?
Or these Pampers?
Yeah. Can they call you?
Well, we have SOP, of course, with regards to, like, even with the program. You come by, you fill out the form, or if you notice something on the side of the road, we're proactive. So if you see something on the side of the road, we go out, send the staff, the vice go out and take that item, hold it, and then we hold when he's out again, we can take these things to the proper place where they belong.
Right. Let's get Rich here. Rich from the Solid Waste Division. Come on up, Rich. Rich Diego here with Guam EPA Solid Waste Division. I know you're out there with Glenn a lot of times, but I mean, does it ever get old when you guys roll onto these sites where just people continuously dump illegally?
Well, Chris, we face these kind of things on a daily basis. It's great to see that more attention's being brought to these types of sites, and hopefully, the lawmakers will open their eyes and start creating something more stiff for these violators.
When we talk about stiff, I'm assuming you're talking about the penalties, right?
Yeah.
So you think higher penalties?
Correct.
And let's talk about what Mayor said. Mayor said, oh, people can't afford to dump their trash, and we hear that a lot. I don't know, you being on the front line, is that even a good enough reason?
No, it's not a good reason. I think another possible way is to include the trash with their power bill like they used to do in the old days. Make it mandatory for everybody to have trash. You're not going to stop illegal dumping, but it'll greatly minimize the sites that are around the island.
You said stiffer penalties, but what about enforcement and manpower, resources for Guam EPA? Because I think when we spoke with, what was his name, last week from your division?
Darian,
and he was saying that I think there's only 3 or 4 people going out and inspecting.
Yeah, when we do these interviews, we have like 50% of the solid waste staff here from
Well,
Guam
correct.
EPA.
There's only 2 of us.
Right,
If you
okay.
count my supervisor, that makes 3,
Okay.
which he's not supposed to be out here.
Yeah. But he is, and you
But he
guys
is,
are
so,
every day.
We can handle it. We got it, but more help will be greatly appreciated.
Glenn?
There's other agencies that are also authorized to, issue litter citations. There's 9 other agencies out there. I'm not going to call them out by name, but if everybody just did their part, that would be great. And, really the reason why this debris is here is not because of the other agencies not doing their job or lack of. It's because of people who don't have respect for themselves and for the environment that's causing all this. So whenever volunteers come out here, they're exposed to, they're exposed to possible hepatitis, impetigo, which is the Guam sores. You have rat, feces and urine that also cause disease. So there's a lot of different things that, that will expose people who's trying to go look for, aluminum, or, people who are volunteering to clean up these sites. Basically, if a group is going to clean up the site, they're in, the COVID PPE requirements, go into place because of the type of waste that they're handling.
Let's get Senator Joanne Brown in here in the mix. And Senator Brown is, of course, a former administrator of Guam EPA. Senator Brown, I kind of wanted to talk about something that Glenn had said, is this is a Department of Parks and Rec property, right? But it does seem like they're not coming out here enough. When we talk about crime, right? People say, oh, it's about police presence, it's about patrols. When people see the police and they're visible, maybe they're less likely to do that. Do we need to be coming out to these sites more often to show people that, it's one thing to say they don't give poop about it, but if our government's not coming out and doing the routine maintenance, we could almost say the same thing about some of these agencies that are supposed to be maintaining these sites.
Well, I'm sure, Parks and Rec the size of the Parks and Rec has decreased over the years. Guam EPA hasn't grown much since I was deputy 30 years ago. And actually, 1,000 Steps was constructed about 27 years ago in concurrence with the construction of the Mangilo Golf Course. And what you need to do, every department and agency, I'm sure, will say they don't have enough resources, but what you need to do is strategize and prioritize what you focus on, and especially for Guam EPA in terms of enforcement. Everyone thinks, oh, we'll raise the fine for littering and that's going to resolve the problem. It hasn't done anything if you don't enforce. And so you have to do selective enforcement and prioritize. Maybe there's certain areas where you're actually going to have your personnel coming on a regular basis and doing enforcement. And I think very much once the public starts seeing the enforcement happen and know that there's a consequence to the action, then the behavior changes. But until we do that, we end up with situations like this in such a beautiful place. Can you imagine being a visitor coming here to Guam? And this is what you see. For us as residents, we're very disappointed when we see this, because there's not anyone here who hasn't gone out and done community service to go cleaning up after other people in our community who've been totally irresponsible. And everyone says, oh, it's a money issue. No, I think it's a sense, it has an issue to do with pride and responsibility and personal responsibility to contribute to maintaining and keeping our island clean and safe. Nobody wants their children playing in this kind of nonsense that we're seeing here, and yet we see it happen. We see it getting worse. And then also we should look at technology and how we can use those resources to help maximize enforcement presence, so that, if they come here at 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe we're able to see who they are and see their license plate. There's no reason we can't look at those options. And once people start knowing, hey, you better be careful going up to that location because they're enforcing out there, then we won't see this. But if we don't do anything about it, if we accept this as acceptable, then we end up with this type of mess. And this is not representative of the quality of life that we certainly want in our community, and certainly not representative of the pride that we want to see for our people.
But Senator, you say enforcement and stepping up enforcement, but I think Rich kind of mentioned there's only 2 people that are out there doing these sorts of inspections. And so how do you step it up with only 2 people at Guam EPA?
Granted, but like I said, Guam EPA is no different than when I was a deputy. We had the same problems back then, but what we did was prioritize enforcement. And when people knew that there was a consequence, we could identify a location or key locations where you're seeing increased dumping. Like the area up in Simon Sanchez Road, we always hear about that. If people start knowing that enforcement action is going to happen, that consequences are going to be there, then more than likely they'll start shifting their behavior.
Glenn said that there are 9 other agencies in the government of Guam that can give tickets for illegal dumping. Why are we only talking to Guam EPA? Why do you think those 8 other agencies aren't doing their part to carry the load?
Well, who wants to be the bad guy, right? Who wants to be, especially the village mayor? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the village mayor has a lot of things he needs to do here in Manilo, including cleaning up after people. I'm sure he wouldn't mind giving a ticket, but there's probably other agencies that they don't look at this as a priority. And even at Guam EPA, I mean, we had people like Greg Pangilinan at the time who gave the highest citations. He took pride in the number of citations that he issued, and we just need more of that, and not being afraid, are we offending anyone? This is offensive. When you see this sort of thing, this is offensive. And everyone says, oh, everyone doesn't have money to pay for their trash disposal. There are other ways, as the mayor mentioned, that you can go about getting assistance to deal with trash disposal. This is laziness. This is irresponsibility. This is lack of pride and caring in our island. And I don't think we should just roll over and say, oh, that's acceptable, and expect everyone else to clean up your mess. I mean, we weren't raised like this. We weren't raised like this. I mean, we wouldn't want this in our backyard or our front yard, and yet here it is. And I think in order to change that attitude, you just need to increase the education, but more importantly, right now, under these type of circumstances, increase the penalties, and then actually get assistance, even if it requires further assistance from law enforcement or the attorney, our AG's office, to start actually holding people responsible.
Glenn, let's get you back in here. Yeah, so let's talk about, because you do give the citations, right? But once you issue that citation, it enters the system. It's kind of out of your hands. What kind of results do you see when you give out these citations?
Well, with the current Judge Season, he's been really good about prosecuting a lot of these illegal dumpers and litterers. What becomes very difficult is when we come to a site like this and we go through the site and we don't find any evidence. So like I had mentioned, we had, prior to the COVID, we gone through the sites. Some of these bags are rebagged from us, and we refer the site for cleanup to, the village mayor, or, in this case, I think we referred it to the village mayor. But, in a lot of cases, when I did a presentation once, this person commented, well, you know what, I issued 100 citations for people parking in a disabled, handicapped parking area. And I said, there's a difference. We have to investigate the site. We have to look for evidence. And then we don't have the resources to go into into land management's database or DMV's database. So we work closely with those agencies to obtain the information we need to effectively issue that citation. And if the citations are if the evidence is all there, then the judge, will basically, support the violation or citation.
All right, I'm just getting tired of doing this. Let's go and look at what we got here. We've got, people are taking car seats out of cars. There's dozens of tires here, household trash. We've got the bags that Guam EPA rebagged after looking through it. And the crazy thing about it is all this trash here, and they're saying there's not a single piece of evidence that will link this illegal dumping to anybody that they can give a ticket to. And, Bree, God, we're doing this every week in Earth Month. I don't know if I can make it through Earth Month without having a freaking colossal meltdown.
Yeah, it's really, I'm just kind of sad and disgusted like you.
So there's really not much else to say until we get to the next dump. So thank you guys for joining us at Link Fam. Thank you, Senator Brown. Thank you, Guam EPA, for coming out, Mayor Ngata, and most especially the mayor's staff. You know, the mayor came out and said, hey, thank you to all the nonprofits who come out and clean these areas. And unfortunately, I don't know if that is encouraging these illegal dumpers, because we keep cleaning up their mess, you know what I mean? And we're getting tired of it. So thank you guys again for joining us at Dirty Politics. For Sabrina Salas-Manzanani, my name is Chris Hesta.
It's Dirty Politics Weekly on the Link, live on location. Every week, Chris and Sabrina will interview different political leaders out in the field to address environmental problems in our community. See firsthand how illegal dumps, littering, and other issues are plaguing our beautiful island, and what's being done to help. Part of our Sustainability Matters campaign for Earth Month, in partnership with the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Guam Green Growth. Presented by Green Energy Solutions, Inc. Reduce before you produce. GESI.
This year, the Think Green Annual Cleanup goes virtual. Organize your community cleanup, post and tag with hashtag ThinkGreenGuam on social media. And we'll share your cleanup in our multimedia platforms and in a special montage on KUAM News Weekend Edition during the last weekend in April. Sustainability matters, part of the KUAM Care Force's commitment to our community.
In partnership with the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Guam Green Growth.
Presented by Green Energy Solutions, Inc. Reduce before you produce. GESI. Special thanks to Micronesian Brokers, Inc.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
When we throw things away, where is away? What happens to our waste, and where does it go? As a community of small islands, the waste crisis is a large issue we want to bring into focus. Micronesia Climate Change Alliance presents From Our Nanas for Our Nennies, a video series about taking a holistic view of our present, finding wisdom from our past, and inspiring a better future. Airing every week during Earth Month, brought to you by Humanities Guahan and the National Endowment for the Humanities.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Only one company on Guam provides every solar energy solution under one roof, Micronesia Renewable Energy. You want solar only? They got that. You want solar with batteries? They got that too. You want outright purchase or lease purchase? It's up to you. Does your solar system need a tune-up? That's what they do. For solar energy solutions from A to Z, you can count on MRE. Give them a call at 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, providing real solar solutions built by real solar experts.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable, as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city, featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
Family platter of fried chicken? Check. Tray of red rice?
Check.
Birthday cake? Check. 1 case of water? Check. 12 pack of beer?
Check.
2 cases of Pepsi?
Check.
When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, UnoGo has that too.
Join the Foundation for Public Education as they recognize some amazing teachers in our community and award one deserving person the title of Teacher of the Year. Watch the broadcast or live stream on the KUAM News Facebook page on Sunday, April 25th at 6:30 p.m. to meet the 6 finalists and learn about their exceptional work as educators. Plus special messages from Superintendent John Fernandez, sponsors, and the current Teacher of the Year, culminating in the live announcement of the 2021 Teacher of the Year. It's a special event you don't want to miss. The 2021 Teacher of the Year is presented by Bank of Guam, Cars Plus Guam, and the KUAM Care Force.
not pick yourself up, let yourself feel fine. I'm a believer in logic, so if it's true, then baby girl, just let me know. So why won't you come now? I'll show you what this love's about. I understand you're not alone. You've got someone else they call your own.
9:13.
Don't let them waste your time. Don't let them cause the
It's
tears
back. A
you'll
returning
cry.
favorite. Jack's Triple Bonus Jack Combo. Everything you need to indulge. Add a patty. Make it a fatty. Make it a quad for just $1 more. Of course, the link brought to you in part by Jack in the Box, Cabo Enterprises, Carrier, IT&E, East West Rental. Good morning, 9:13. Sergeant Paul Tapau, the Guam Police Department in the KUAM News Zoom room for our weekly crime update. Sarge, I know you guys have been working pretty hard. We were just talking during the break. Quite a number of homicides this year and just crime in general, right? So we had the beheading, the Umatic slaying, this most recent one with Matthew Menabusen. And then I believe there was a shooting in Agate also, but that wasn't a homicide, right? So you guys have definitely been keeping busy. What is it, though, Sarge? Because about a year ago, I mean, everyone was locked down and crime was, God, I want to say almost non-existent, but it's not that way now.
Well, you know, as we reported with some of the issues with, you know, some of the contributing factors or some of the, you know, what played, right? So if you look at the Santa Rita incident with the beheading of Mr. Castro, you know, it was attributed to, you know, the use of drugs. And then we, you know, these are some of the factors that we look into in understanding what was the motive behind the incident. And as we press with the, you know, the trials and everything, and evidence are, you know, will be presented in the courts, we'll be able to have a clear picture as to some of the motives behind it. But you're correct. You know, we've seen the Santa Rita beheading. We saw the Dedido shooting in Waisangsong. We, you know, the Umatic incident with former mayor and former police officer, you know, Daniel Sanchez, and just recently, the incident involving the the Swamp Road incident with, you know, Mr. Meno, and of course the arrest and everything. So, you know, the Guam Police Department is able to, you know, in a timely, I want to say timely manner, in an expeditious manner, we were able to garner and, you know, effectuate an arrest for the individuals that were responsible for all these cases. So, you know, I mean, it's unfortunate that lives were lost, but, you know, I mean, we still have to bring justice to the family. We still work at providing the justice to the community and making sure that those that are apprehended, we do garner the conviction. And, you know, some of the cases that we were talking about was the Tamika Nauta homicide, where, you know, we were able to garner a conviction on that. That was a very, I want to say for me personally, you know, because I do have a daughter her age, you know, that in itself, the homicide was a horrific, you know, incident. But, you know, our detectives they do their due diligence, and, you know, the track record shows that we're able to garner and secure that conviction. So, you know, that's our ultimate goal with all these arrests, with these death investigations that get reclassified into a homicide investigation.
Right. I mean, there are a couple though that stick out, Sarge, like the case of Michael Castro and Juan Uggan. Are both these cases still open?
Yes. You know, I think the chief gets briefed on the case. You know, the two particular cases on a weekly basis by the CID command. You know, we still continue to keep in touch with the family of, you know, Mr. Michael Castro. That is still classed as a missing person. With the Juan Uggan incident, you know, that is a death investigation that we continue to move forward. You know, we continue to ask for answers within the community, and this is where we, you know, and it's really ironic how we're talking about this. You know, I had a conversation with an individual just the other day in you know, one of the grocery stores, and one of the things that an individual had mentioned, he goes, the thing that we have going for us right now, comparable to what we're seeing in the stateside, the greater mainland, is we have culture. And, all we need to do is reconnect to our culture. And, these are the type of incidents in which we can actually utilize our Pacific Island culture, our heritage, and our pride, and really helping, deploying that inathamaolic sense of pride as who we are as Guamanians, and really helping, each other, and, simply giving us information as simple as, just incidents that happened, and we continue to ask that from within the greater community. So, we're still actively working the missing person of Michael Castro, and of course, the death incident or the homicide incident with Mr. Wanagan. But, somebody does have information out there that can aid our investigator. And we know that there's people out there who know exactly, what's going on with these cases. And we ask them, really look down into your hearts, and let's bring closure to this, and let's really bring justice to the family that continue to mourn for their loved ones, that continue to hope, that justice will prevail. So, these are the incidents which we are asking the community to step up and really exercise and, see what it's like to, deploy the inathamaolic sense of pride.
Sarge, I was just looking at this story on KUAM.com where it kind of goes in with the magistrate's complaint relative to the shooting death of Joshua Meno. Police launched an investigation after Meno's lifeless body was found on Hahasu Drive on Swamp Road. A court documents state officers saw a blood trail from Meno's deceased body that led toward a residence off the roadway where Menabusan was staying with several others. Officers learned Meno had stopped by the house to have a cigarette and dinner. Witnesses stated Meno got into an argument with another person in the home and allegedly struck the person on the neck with a machete. The person reportedly ran into the home and alerted Menabusan, who walked out of his house with a pistol and shot Meno. Meno then walked onto the roadway. Officers noted a wound on his lower right rib area that was consistent with a gunshot wound. Documents state, again, these are the court docs, Menabusan said he shot Meno, but claims Meno had been threatening his cousins while brandishing a machete, and that he was afraid Meno would hurt him or his girlfriend in the home, so Menabusan shot Meno first. He then provided specific instructions to the officers to locate the pistol, which was recovered within a hidden compartment inside a school bus that was stationed beside the home. Menabusan did not have a valid firearms ID and is currently on parole. He's a repeated violent offender, having a criminal history dating back to 2002. He appeared for his magistrate's hearing and was held on a $100,000 cash bail. Next court hearing April 27th before Judge Iriarte. Sarge, with this Menabusan guy and Rudy Kanata and some of these familiar faces that we see just repeatedly in the news, what's that like for you guys responding to a scene? And and you see these guys that, just got out of jail, or some of them have cases running on them while they're out here doing more damage?
Yeah, it's when you really look into the person and the individual, right, and see what they're going through and stuff, right. It really, for us to be judgmental on who they are and everything, right. We can't speculate. We can't, based on anything, right. And we pretty much work. We do our bread and butter with police work is the facts and fact finding, and of course fact reporting, right. And we were able to do that, and we used the track record and of course the history as to prepare us as to who we're dealing with and everything. But there is a human side to the individual, and understanding some of the choices and the decisions and some of the predicaments that they're in at that moment in time. That decision or that choice that they made, may not have been the best decision, but it was a decision that was made by them. And it's really unfortunate that we continue to we're continuing to see this, and it's really, when do you find the right when do you find the approach to make the right steps? And some of them do have tried, some of them do continue to work and try, but it's just really I don't want to say stroke of bad luck that they are, the decision making skills that they have, and we're still seeing the effects of crystal methamphetamine and addiction and stuff, and that may be a part of the decision making skills that some of these individuals deploy and stuff. So it's really we look at, I personally, as an investigator, I will still continue to look at the human side of the individual and, understanding that it's there. This is where we, as a community, from a holistic approach, we do need to address this and we do need to work, whether it be rehabilitation, whether it be the conforms of programs at the Department of Correction, and of course the programs thereafter, and ensuring that the individuals that are released into the, back into the community are well acclimated in adjusting to what's needed. And it is hard. It really is to, seeing some of that, because I do have family and friends that are had, criminal histories before in the past, felony records and everything. And just hearing their stories and their struggles and how to obtain a job and how to set themselves right in the right track, there is a struggle and there is a challenge. But, these are some of the choices that they need to make, to stay in the right track. But it's really, the criminal history in itself, we always look back at that as investigators, right? Not to judge the individual, but to find a direction as to where we're going with the case. And of course, understanding a possible motive and stuff. But, we do need to work as a community in ensuring that the individuals that have been incarcerated for crimes, that they come out and that we had, provided assistance to get them back on track. Because, if we can turn one individual into a productive citizen, that's a plus for the community. It's a plus for, just a whole slew of different things.
Right on. Sergeant, do you guys have any info at all about these? I don't know, as a courtesy, did you get any info about the post office closures?
Not with the, I don't have any information as to the closures of some of the that are being audited. That's the federal side and everything. But, speaking of, we are hearing reports, and we saw it, and it was addressed during our command staff meeting. And we want to applaud the, the information sharing from various neighborhood watch groups. There are, and I want to, clarify that, and of course, provided better information. We are seeing social media posts of mailboxes. These are local. We did confirm that. We did confirm that a report was taken with one of the videos that are circulating of a mail theft that occurred in one of the private homes mailbox. So, we were briefed, and we asked the community to be, cognizant of what's happening out there. If anybody suspects anything suspicious, please, if you are expecting mail and you see that your whole street has a a delivery system by the U.S. Postal Service, reach out to your respective neighbors and tell them that this is what we're seeing in the community, mail theft. We do have one that was reported to the Guam Police Department. And again, we want to prevent this from happening, but that's where we can speak on. I don't know about the other two post offices that are being audited, and we're seeing the stimulus checks being mailed out, tax returns are being mailed out. That's, again, I'm going to use the anathematic approach. Let's work in bettering our community, and just keep an eye out for our beloved neighbors, and of course, report anything suspicious to your immediate precinct or the Guam Police Department.
Sarge, any checkpoints planned for this week or this weekend?
Not that I'm aware of. It's funny how you bring that up. I'm actually going to be heading over to sit down and talk with our traffic investigators. I know we have been doing a lot of speed enforcement.
Right.
We're seeing an uptick with traffic out there, with the easing of restrictions. So, people forget that we still live in an island that's posted speed is 35. Let's keep it at 35. These guys have been working hard. So, we had our neighborhood watch meeting, and we're going to be working closely with the respective mayors to address speeding within their respective neighborhoods and their communities. So, as we get back into some sort of normalcy and the easing of restriction, people are going to be out and about. We continue to ask the community members. We're starting, the restaurants have picked up, the bars are still at 50% capacity, but the social gatherings and everything has picked up. So, people are going to be celebrating, and we ask that people celebrate responsibly, designated responsible sober driver.
Yeah. Sarge, there's a story here at KUAM.com because we're talking about driving and drunk driving. And you're right. It's It's like driving out here, man. Did everyone forget how to drive prudently? Because, I mean, you guys are rusty. But this story coming to us from KUAM.com, he was allegedly drinking and speeding through a village street before crashing into a concrete pole. According to a Maggie's complaint, Samina Kiko was arrested and charged with aggravated assault as a third-degree felony with a special allegation of possession and use of a deadly weapon, a hollow block, in the commission of a felony while driving while impaired. Get a load of this, guys. Imagine this happening on your village street. On April 15th, Kiko was allegedly speeding up and down Frederico Street in Agania Heights, yelling at bystanders. He allegedly drove toward a victim, passing him by 2 feet, and then allegedly threw a cement block at him. The victim jumped back and fell on the asphalt and was struck on the leg. He then allegedly sped past the victim, lost control of his car, and crashed into a utility pole. At the scene, police noted Kiko appeared drunk with bloodshot eyes, slurred speech. He, along with his car, smelled of alcohol. Witnesses told police they saw Kiko drinking beers from a bottle and smashing them to the ground before speeding off.
Yep, that was here in the Agania Heights. So, you know, I mean, that's the crash investigator. We know that the 3,000-pound vehicle versus a 185-pound individual, it's not, I mean, you can pick who the winner is going to be in that.
Yeah.
And I think the special allegation, too, should incorporate the use of the vehicle as a deadly weapon.
Good point. Good point.
Is, you know, I mean, the intent is there. You know, I mean, as a crash investigator, right, we determine that crashes do happen, right? It's accidental. And, you know, I always define the term for accident as an uncontrolled circumstances. But when you intentionally use a vehicle as a weapon to try to hit somebody, you know, there are intentions of bad bodily harm or maybe even death. So, you know, I mean, that's my personal take in that as a crash investigator. I mean, if you look how fast he was going for him to lose control and to collide with the utility pole, I mean, that guy was hauling. He was hauling.
I mean, as a police officer, I'm pretty sure you guys have these moments where you're like, God donuts, I thought I seen it all.
It is, you know, I mean, we do, you know, we always, we expect, you know, that this is going to be normal, but, you know, there is nothing out of the ordinary until we see things differently. And, you know, it's not just police officer, firefighters go through the same thing. And, you know, there's that bond between firefighters and police officers that we can cope and relate to a lot of the incidents that we see. And it's really, you know, to have that, I'm going to use my Chamorro slang, that thick skin, you know, and
you got to be cautious all over.
Understanding that, you know, I mean, we have to learn how to cope with what we are dealing with. And of course, you know, our patients have to be there, you know, in understanding it. You know, that story in itself, I want to commend the family members for assisting the Guam Police Department. They were able to detain that individual, and you know, it wasn't just the reporting person that called the police. You know, numerous calls that come in from family members.
Yeah.
So you know, there were concerns for that part, and you know, we want to. You know, we want to thank family members that take.
Wait, Sarge, family members of the accused or family members of the victim? I see. Okay.
Family members of the accused, they were able to detain them as police while police were en route. So, you know, they stopped him from, and they were actually the ones who were trying to tell him to stop before he did all of that.
Yeah.
I did send a media release, and in that media release, there were family members that were, you know, pleading to the individual to stop. So, you know,
please stop. We're going to be on KUAM. Stop. Yeah, Sarge. I mean, situational awareness, because I can't even imagine walking down the side of the road and then almost getting run over by a dude who's drunk throwing a hollow block. It's just something you don't picture in your mind happening when you leave your house to go for a walk, but it's happening.
Yeah, just like the crash yesterday at in Pica's Cafe. You know, you're sitting there in the intersection getting ready for the light to turn green, and then you see a car that end over ends right in front of you and collides with your car. It's like, wow, what do you do? I mean, you know, these are things in which we cannot control, but, you know, this is again attributed to situational awareness. You know,
right.
That collision was caused by somebody that didn't provide sufficient clearance from the rear and collided with that vehicle, caused a 3-car collision. So, you know, it could have been worse. And, you know, it's very fortunate that minor injuries were reported from that crash, but, you know, we've seen incidents where, you know, bystanders are just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
And, in deploying situation awareness. I mean, things can happen, but it's just really, in essence, it's really, we ask each individual to be responsible and really make prudent decisions and choices.
Thanks, Sarge, for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Roger.
There
Take
you
care,
go.
man. You guys
Sergeant
be safe.
You too. Sergeant Paul Tapao, Guam Police Department. Yeah, it's crazy out here in these streets. You know what I mean? Can you imagine that, Joe, sir, walking down the road? And I mean, I seen some things. And you're just like, huh? And when these like incidents happen where you get, because we work here in Hutman. And for some reason, there's just people walking around all the time. Sometimes they're drunk. Sometimes they look like they're on drugs. And you kind of just like, okay, you never know what to expect. So I try and put as much distance between me and them as I can. Right? But you guys just we got to be on our SA, our situational awareness. Read the room, read the area you're in, identify potential threats. I mean, anybody could be a threat, but especially just having to prepare for someone being drunk and trying to run you over and throw a hollow block at you. It's crazy. Something we definitely didn't experience growing up. 9:33. Let's keep it in the KUAM News Zoom room and get Senator Sabina Perez, who is the Revenue Tax Procurement Oversight. Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Senator.
Good morning, Chris. How are you doing today?
We're doing pretty good. We're just talking about crime here with Sergeant Paul Tapao, the Guam Police Department, and it definitely seems like we have returned. They talk about, the new normal. Well, yeah, the new normal is this crime. Unfortunately, when we were on lockdown, it was just so much easier for GPD to police things because everyone was staying home, and now it seems like they're back, and they're back with a vengeance.
Yeah, I was listening into the conversation. So it is definitely we need to do something. I agree with Officer Tapao that in regard to the drugs, I think that's really exacerbating the issue here. And the more that we can prevent drug addiction, I think that's our efforts could be more focused on that. Because once I think meth is such a hard drug to overcome. And the more I think that's, considering all the pressure that we're going through, that also needs to be relieved as well. I'm all in support of prevention in regards to drugs.
Yeah, it definitely seems like, well, first of all, we need more prevention. We need more treatment. And then on the recidivism side, it sounds like we definitely need more programs for some of these people who are trying to return back to society after having, served time or been in the system for whatever reason, right?
Right. And, the more resources that we can put towards, enforcement, a lot of this is probably imported, right? So, where are the weaknesses when it's coming into Guam? I mean, those were the things that we really need to close the gap on. Right. It's a chronic problem. Definitely needs a lot of different approaches.
No pun intended. Chronic problem. Senator, I know as the Revenue Tax Oversight Chair, when we talk about people stealing stimulus checks, that's got to hit close to home for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that that's news. That's sort of news to me. Is that a big problem happening right now?
Well, I know there's at least one video, but I've been getting in different WhatsApp group chats. I mean, for what it's worth, people just advising people, hey, be on the lookout because, we know of these couple instances where I think there were some videos where people were stealing mail out of the mailbox.
Oh, wow. That's definitely getting desperate.
Right.
For sure.
I mean, it doesn't help that every time we get hey, they just paid out $50 million in stimulus. These Sakis are like, hey, they just paid out $50 million in stimulus.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's good to probably switch over to the direct deposit. I think that they have the capacity now to do that.
Yeah, they paid out so many.
That can help some things like that, the theft.
All right, let's jump into it, Senator. So there was, I guess, while everybody was kind of worrying about Christmas, there was an executive order that had come out on December, I want to say December 18th. It was EO 2020-40. Anyway, it was one of the executive orders. But way down at the bottom, there was a state of emergency that was declared for the Government of Guam Financial Management System, which is, I believe, some like $20 million. It's like a huge $20 million purchase. And I totally missed it, right? So we got the statement from Adelup and Crystal Pacos and Augustine that said, oh, yeah, it's an emergency because we have all these federal monies coming in and there's all these reporting requirements. And, that's why we need to get this new system. But Public Auditor BJ Cruz has been on this show and has repeatedly said that he's got issues with how often we're using this emergency procurement. And this is kind of like right up your alley as the procurement chair. So I guess just we'll start there because I know there was a couple other senators who were trying to like shake the tree and see what came down about this issue. But as the procurement oversight, just tell us your thought process when you saw this emergency declaration.
Yeah, I guess the question is, does it truly need to be an emergency procurement? And, I guess perhaps around that time, there was a deadline to spend all the funds. And, was that really used to try to spend it quicker? I think that's the question, right? But then we learned after the year that there was an extension to use the funds. And as well, there's a new executive order that came out. So you take a look at that executive order that was passed in 2020-40, so at the end of December, so the one that you referred to, it gives the Chief Procurement Officer the authority to implement this procurement. But then fast forward to the March, there's an executive order that was handed down in March, and it's Executive Order 2021-07. And so it's almost identical to the one that was released in December, but they struck out the Chief Procurement Officer as having the authority to carry out this particular procurement of the financial management system. So I guess the question is, why is there, obviously, why is there a need to remove her from this process? I mean, considering that these are line agencies and all line agencies need to go through the governor's office, needs to go through the Chief Procurement Officer, excuse me. So, I mean, we can run the risk of not having a procurement go through the proper protocols again. So this is an issue that I'm trying to reach out to the governor's office to clarify and hopefully get a satisfactory answer as to why the Chief Procurement Officer is not in this particular, in the updated procurement, executive order. So yeah, it is a concern, emergency procurement, oftentimes more than likely would cost more than if you were to go to a traditional bid. And because that we've extended, because the federal government has extended the deadline, there is still time to go through traditional procurement. And, with the current law, it does allow for, it's a little bit more of a hassle if you're going to go through emergency procurement because with the current law in place, you would have to, go through public hearing every 60 days, or it's like 30 days before the emergency procurement ends. The agency has to go through a public hearing to explain why they would need to extend an emergency procurement. So it's really better just to go through the traditional procurement. The other thing is once you lock into a particular financial management system, through emergency procurement, there's really, it creates more barriers to really go through a traditional procurement to get a better price or a better value for the money that we're spending. So yeah, there definitely is a lot of issues, especially with these management systems. It could easily turn into a sole source, right? Because each vendor has very specific software. Right. So yeah, this is definitely a concern, and I'm really glad that Senator Moylan has actually sent out a FOIA to kind of get more information regarding this.
Right. Did you send one too, or are we all like piggybacking on Moylan's FOIA?
No, I haven't. I didn't send one out. Basically, I'm going through the route of a request for information at this point.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Senator, so this first executive order came out in December, declared the state of emergency, gave it to the chief procurement officer. Here we are 4 months later in April. I was just told a couple weeks ago from Crystal Paco San Augustine that this was an active procurement. But now we have this big change with this other EO that came out that totally cuts the chief procurement officer out of the question. So if the chief procurement officer is out of the formula, then who would be the one to procure this financial management system?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. We don't know the answer yet. And if it's a line agency, it would have to go through the chief procurement officer. I mean, obviously the AG's office would have to review something over $500,000. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's a good way to go, especially, I mean, the last time we were at this, it was with the quarantine facilities where the chief procurement officer was not in the primary or was not involved in the procurement.
Right, it was the legal counsel.
Perhaps, yeah, legal counsel of the governor, right?
Right. Senator, so in order to because I'm really confused now, but in order to conduct a procurement, if it's not going to be the chief procurement officer, the entity, body, agency, or whoever that conducts the procurement, then are they supposed to have like credentials in terms of like having taken the procurement module or any of those other things?
Right. Absolutely. That's required by law that they would have to have completed all 4 modules of the training. And, as you can see in the last OPA audit, there definitely is a lack within the line agencies. Most of the autonomous agencies have the required professionals in place. It's the line agencies that don't have it, which is why they have to go through the chief procurement officer who has that qualification. And so, yeah, that is definitely a concern, considering there is a need for more trained professionals. The one thing that is also concerning is that the agencies can handle RFPs at the agency level. But again, you need a panel of experts, qualified professionals. One is not going to cut it, because you need a panel to determine who's going to, in their evaluation process, they need to have, by law, they need to have the training to carry that out.
So do you
So those questions, yeah, those are definitely questions that we're going to reach out to the governor's office regarding this. We want to make sure that it's done correctly, and so that also, we're making the best use of funds, so that those funds can be used elsewhere. Where it's greatly needed.
Right. How much funds are we talking about? How much is a financial management system for the entire government of Guam?
Wow, I don't know. I do not know the answer to that. I'm sure it's going to be expensive for sure. It's needed. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's something that's definitely needed. But that's why we have our procurement laws to ensure that we're going to get a better deal for what we we ask for. So as well as making sure that it's done fairly, and it's done with in competitive manner, which is what what drives getting a better value for what we seek.
Let's
we don't want to be stuck with a procurement that's going to cost the government ever increasing amounts of money, right? These things are expensive to maintain as well. So we want to make sure whatever specifications are created, has a more of a holistic view and a long-term view. We see that, with a lot of these rush procurements that, especially when it comes to technology, we're not getting the best value. And, how do we, and it creates more of a barrier to really kind of streamline and use our funds more frugally. And this is something we really need to do especially at this time. We're hearing that, we're not going to have this continuing rounds of CARES Act from the federal government. And we need to make sure that we're making really wise investments. And it's, we don't want to be stuck with something in the long term.
Right. So what's the next step for you? You're asking for information. Do you think you're going to get it? When you do, what happens then?
So basically that's the idea is we want to make sure that things are done properly. If we get a satisfactory answer, then, we can still have an informational hearing. If we don't get the answers, then I would have to continue with an oversight. So those are the options that are before me. But we do want to work with the agencies to see what information they can provide us first.
You talk about oversight. We had you on this program, I want to say about a month ago, when the list of the emergency purchases and sole source procurement purchases came out from GSA and the chief procurement officer. At that time, in reviewing it, you had said that you were definitely going to hold an oversight hearing.
Yeah, that's correct. I think what I could have spoken too quickly without having heard the other side. But yeah, there are questions that still remain, and I'm supposed to get the report today from the GSA. So I mean, the questions are, why didn't they go through small purchasing? There's a lot of those emergency procurements that are under 15,000. And with small purchasing, you actually are guaranteed to get a lower, it's a lower cost versus emergency procurement. There's a trade-off. So if you can get it there quicker, then you might end up paying more. So that's one of the questions that I would like to get answered. The other question is, what is the need? Is there a determination of need established? And that's something that I would definitely, I'm looking closely at because the idea of emergency procurement is to respond to emergency quickly, and if there was a need that has been established, right? So, and the sole source procurement too. I mean, was there really one vendor out there that can supply that particular service or provide that particular good? And so when I looked at that initially, it looked like there were other vendors that could have provided that, and to me that was questionable. And so once you get into a sole source procurement, are we talking about when it comes time for renewals, they're not opening it up to traditional procurement, they're not opening it up to vendors. So that's something that I would have to take a look at and see, are they opening it up at the time of renewal? Because once you're locked into a procurement, then you don't have that opportunity to seek other vendors that could possibly provide a more competitive pricing, or we can have the opportunity to rewrite the specs to get a better deal, a better service for the money that we're spending.
When you talk about the small purchases under 15,000, have you seen those or that data?
Well, just looking at the report itself, there's a bunch that fall under 15,000.
Right.
And so I don't see why, I don't understand why at this point, why it could not have been through small purchasing versus going through an emergency procurement outright.
Right. What's the remedy, Senator? Because we had these oversight hearings last term in the 35th. And I think it's pretty clear to say a determination was made that it was suspect. And I don't want to say illegal, but I mean, we all watched the hearings, and there's definitely things were done in a way that was, what's a good way to put it? Highly questionable, maybe. But at the end of the day, if we go to GSA and we find out that, they abused emergency purchases, they, gave sole source to businesses that weren't even like unique in what they were offering. What's the remedy? Is anyone going to get arrested? Is anything going to happen to these people moving forward? Or is it just a case of, oh, well, they did it and there's nothing we can do about it?
Yeah, I mean, usually the biggest remedies are protest, right? If companies are vying for the same bid, companies, that's I think the most effective way is through protests. as far as, policy wise, there hasn't been anything developed at this point. That probably needs to be studied whether, it could be considered null and void. I mean, but the thing is, you have to be careful, if the service truly is an emergency, you don't want to, void a contract that is needed, right? So we have to be very careful about what kind of remedies to put in place. So that's something that would require a little bit more study. I think, most people would like to see it handled right immediately, right? If there's a problem, there should be some sort of repercussions. And that, I think that needs to be developed further.
Right. It's just interesting to me that you can have an emergency procurement and they could get something procured like within a day. Or, in the case of the homeless shelter, I mean, yeah, they had their issues, but once a place was secured, it was like that. But with this financial management system, we're going on 4 months and they're changing horses midstream. There was a chief procurement officer, now it's not. So just kind of curious to try and make sense out of all these inconsistencies, right?
Yeah, and when we're dealing with lots of money, right, that's a big concern.
Yeah. Well, anything on labor, Senator, or your other oversight?
Yeah, I haven't developed we're supposed to develop an informational hearing with Director Dave Della Sola. I need to touch bases with him because I know he's super busy trying to get PUA 3 out.
Right.
And that's one thing he asked me is that, I give him some time to get that prepared.
Yeah. Environment, right? Earth Month. And we did have you out with Dirty Politics. Anything on your table?
Just the 2 bills that I introduced. It's basically one is to require trash pickups for those that are renting their units. So currently in law, there's a gap. There's actually a gap right now. There's a requirement to have trash pickups for units that have greater than 4, buildings that have greater than 4 units that are being rented. So we're just closing that loophole. And so I think that's really critical because of the lack of enforcement right now or the lower capacity that we have. It's important that, collections are increased. Reduces that, the tendency of, if you have collections up front, there's less likely that one would, one's trash would end in an illegal dump. Because as right now that we know that there are certain customers that hire these third-party haulers that are not permitted, potentially permitted, and we don't know where the trash ends up. So it potentially could end up in an illegal dump site. So that curbside collection would help mitigate that. The other approach we did was to build capacity. So increase basically the citations. So currently in law, there are other law enforcement officers that can cite illegal dumpers.
Right.
What this bill would do, it will allow some of the funds that come from a citation to fund the manpower that goes into that to these other law enforcement agencies. And this came at the suggestion of one of the staff at Guam EPA during one of the roundtables that I hosted in last term. And so we are just basically following through with that. So there's potential other that can be made.
Are you going to be providing any testimony or comment on Senator Talena's couple of hearings or the hearing? I think she's having one on the build-up comments.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be present. So, as you know, I had the water resolution hearing last week. They're pretty much, I think, go hand in hand. When you destroy the forest, a lot of times those forests are the sites of our cultural sites, and it's really integrated. So definitely they're connected because I feel, that's part of our natural history, our natural cultural history as well. So,
thank you, Senator, for your time.
Thank you, Chris.
Anything in closing? Yeah, I know. Good.
Yeah, just nothing. There's so many things happening. So, but yeah.
So you're saying this goodbye could turn into a whole other interview.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to handle right now. So
We'll let you go get to it. Of course, Senator. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Looking forward to seeing how this situation develops with this emergency procurement with the government of Guam's financial management system. Definitely a curious development, as we told you about the EO that came out in December, and now it appears there's a new one that strips the responsibility of emergency of procuring through an emergency a financial management system for the chief procurement officer. Now they cut her out. I don't know what Claudia did. It's probably, Auntie Lou was like, "You're taking too long. What kind of emergency is this? 4 months, Dalao?" I don't know. We'll find out. But there's a lot of senators asking questions about it, so we'll see who gets the answer first. It's 9:58. Jay, good morning.
Good morning. I think we have one more thing to do before we call it a show, right?
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. It's brought to you by our friends at Burger King, okay, where they are turning 32 thanks to you. And this morning's Cover Me is The Majority featuring Leia Love. It's called Tug of War. Viewers on KUAM TV. You guys okay over there?
Oops.
To our viewers on KUAM TV, thanks so much for jamming with us. Again, on the radio side, we're KUAM FM, Agatnia, Guam.
People never hear Joe Sir's voice and they almost heard him curse.
Right.
Don't mess with his gear.
For Sabrina Salas Mantanani, who's off island attending to family matters, and Jason Salas, good job today, Jay.
Always a good time, Chris.
Yep. Joe Sir, Master Control. Remember, we got your 6 with our primetime newscast with the KUAM news team. Again, KUAM TV land. My name is Chris. Está adios.
Local Music Mashup is brought to you by Burger King. Be your way.
Half a day, guys, and we're back. It's Local Music Mashup being brought to you by Burger King. Let's get to our next performance. These guys, I got to sit down with their manager, go a little one-on-one podcast with Elon. Man, thank you so much, Elon, and The Majority for always sending us love at the station. But this is one of their songs, which they teamed up with Leia Love. So check it out.
It wasn't enough. Sad to say, boy, now you're leaving.
Gave you all of my love. Guess it wasn't enough. Sad to say, girl, now you're leaving me.
'Cause I don't wanna fight. Keep going another night unless somebody right next to you.
It only feels right with you by my side.
All this back and forth talk don't walk all out. Got me like, ooh, too much of a good thing is hard enough. Hard enough. Got you like stuck on stupid. The new chick, yeah, she clueless. She don't know that I taught you how to do this.
So why you gotta do this, baby girl? It's ruthless. I'm just trying to be here with you. Stop wasting time. The loving that I'm making on my mind. You know the feeling mutually divine. The bedroom is the place where we design.